What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode and live stream of Let's Get Nuts here on the Ben Thomas Show. First show of 2026. Can you guys freaking believe it? Yeah, it's insane. I feel like one of those weather people that's like, oh, can't you believe it's already 2026. It's insane. But guys, we got a great show for you today. We got some all new panelists. First time on Let's Get Nuts. So I'm excited for that. We're going to talk a little bit about New Year's resolutions for collecting. Do you guys have a resolution for your collecting pattern this year and your displays? Also, we got to talk a little bit about the leak of the X-Men kind of tease for Doomsday and Stranger Things. We're going to get into Stranger Things a little bit. So hopefully you guys have seen it so you can join the discussion in the chat. But we also have Inart controversies. We've got Hot Toys news galore. It's going to be a freaking wild show. So guys, buckle up, stick around. If you guys like the video today, hit the like button, smash the subscribe if you're new to the Ben Thomas Show. And of course, let's get nuts.
What are you doing? You're completely outnumbered here. Are you nuts? You want to get nuts? You want to get nuts?
You want to get nuts?
Get nuts? You want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts. Let's get nuts.
Let's get nuts.
Let's get nuts. Let's get nuts.
Alrighty, guys, welcome back. Let's bring in our co-host, the man of the hour, Mr. Adam in 2026. How you doing, buddy?
Happy New Year! Happy New Year, Ben. Happy New Year to
Good to
everyone
see
in
you.
chat, the whole panel. Can't believe it's 2026.
It's insane.
Hopefully a good, happy, healthy New Year to everyone. And I think we got a great show lined up, so let's get to it.
Hell yeah, dude. I was pissed actually because I don't normally go out for New Year's. Like the last couple of years, I've stayed at home and just relaxed and, you know, watch the ball drop if I can, call family and stuff. And this year it was like, hey, you know what? Let's actually go out to a club. And so got all buckled up, got all dressed up, right? We're in the cab on the way down. And I opened Facebook and they'd shown the Indiana Jones and the battle damaged like Spider-Man. And I'm are you kidding me? Like, can we turn it around? Can I go back and make 2 videos and then go? No, can't do it. Already committed to it. So of course that's the time that they give it to us, right? But I think it was Jack Sparrow the year before that they showed either on New Year's Eve or like New Year's Day. I can't quite remember, but some kind of big banger news, right? Yep. So yeah. So, I mean, that was a sweet one then. This is going to make for a great show today because I freaking love Indiana Jones. I can't wait to talk to you boys about that. And then some of that, you know, nonsense with the battle damaged Spider-Man a little bit, right? So we'll keep you buckled in, buddy. But dude, thanks for being here as always. I didn't give you like any notice for today's show, so apologies on that. So thanks for being able to make it, man.
Pleasure.
Right on. Next up, we've got a first-time panelist on Let's Get Nuts today. Let's bring him in here. We got Mr. Harrison, Viking Collectibles, on the show. Finally, dude. Welcome.
I know.
Thanks for being here and happy
Thanks
New Year.
very much. Happy New Year. Yeah, thank you for having me. Yeah, really looking forward to being on it, actually.
Dude, yeah. I'm so thankful for our friends, Jim and Vita, who connected with me and said, hey, like, Harrison's been on a couple of these other shows. If you're looking for a good panelist, you should poke him. And then when I reached out to you and you were like, yeah, dude, like I'd love to be on. It makes me feel so good when people actually want to be on the show. So dude, happy to have you here, man. Happy to have you here.
Yeah, Jim
and happy New Year.
Are great.
They're my favorites. So, and they said they'll watch on the replay. Vita asked me my thoughts on Stranger Things like 2 nights ago as I was going to bed, and I haven't got back to her yet. So I feel bad. I'm a horrible friend. You hate to see it.
Terrible.
So, but dude, thanks for being here, man. We already have 30 people here ready to go. Guys, thanks for getting nuts with us on Sunday. Love to see it. Next panelist up here, let's bring him in because we're going to talk a little bit about that Jim Lee inspired tease of James Marsden, of course, for Doomsday. And who better to give us some opinions than Mr. X-Men Supreme back in the house. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you, man. Good to see you.
I'm here, man. I'm good.
You're here.
I'm ready to see this trailer because I haven't seen it yet. I've not been. I've been waiting for Marvel to put them out on their page because everyone has a bunch of AI crap, and I'm not trying to fill my feed with that. So I'm not looking at anything unless it's Marvel stamped.
That's fair. That's fair. And honestly, like it could have been AI. It could have been easily. It's just that every potato camera tease we've got so far has ended up being the tease officially.
Oh,
so I'm
yeah.
like, this is the one I think that might actually might actually be the case, but we'll find out. So, and you just joined us from Feezy's Figures, I believe. Is that right?
Yep.
Oh yeah. Was it his Hot Talk show today, or what was going on over there?
Yeah, we were talking about the releases and everything.
Cool. Well, if you guys need more Hot Toys news and good folks, good energies, go check out Feezy's Figures after the show today, because there'll be more content there waiting for you guys. So, but Dave, Mr. Dave, you're the man. Thanks for being back, buddy, as always, and Happy New Year to you. Good sir. Last but not least, let's bring him in here. The man with the camera, the videographer, the best Batcave I've seen in 1/6 scale. I think you already know who I'm talking about. We're going to bring out Mr. Philly, Figurecraft. Happy New Year, buddy. Good to see you, man.
Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome to a brand new 2026, and looking forward to it. I can't wait. There's so much exciting stuff going on, especially with Doomsday. So looking particularly forward to that. So thanks for having me today. It's always nice to kind of jump in whenever I can. And today I had to rearrange a couple of things just to be able to make it. So I appreciate you for having me, and let's get started.
Oh yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Welcome back, dude. And welcome everybody in the chat. As you guys know, I will say hi to everybody here shortly, but I see all your comments rolling in. So glad to see you guys are here. Quick on this one. Ben, are you getting the Goonies Lego set? I might have to do it, man. Well, you know what? I probably won't. I think I might have to retire from Lego sets here pretty soon, because I got the Deku tree, the Zelda Deku tree, over the holidays, which is an awesome set, as well as the Star Trek Enterprise. I built Lego for many days straight, and I already am like, where the heck do I put all of this great stuff? So while it's awesome, I don't know if I'll be able to do it, man. But you got to do it for us and show us the videos. So, but guys, let's get into the warm up here today. Like we already said, I think after about the 5th, you're not allowed to say Happy New Year to anybody anymore, because they're like, yeah, whatever, who cares anymore? But we're still only on the 4th. So as a result, I'm curious, when you guys were thinking about your collections at the end of 2025, I don't know about you guys, but I've been rearranging like crazy. I've been selling figures, not like crazy, but really just to kind of make room. I had a collector out there in the community, shout out Curtis Booth, who asked me the other day what was on my pre-order list. And I was like, oh man, that's actually a good question. And I had to go and like hunt down all of the different things that I've got, kind of on order. And it turns out I've got like 15 figures on order, as well as the Blitzway DeLorean. And that's probably a small quantity compared to some of you guys out there. But I immediately was thinking, where am I going to put it all? How am I going to display it? How am I going to have to change my display? So I was curious for you guys on the panel, but also in the chat, do you have any resolutions for 2026 with regards to collecting? I'll let you guys go first, and then I'll give my thoughts at the end. But Mr. Adam, what about you? Any collecting resolutions this year? And if not, was there any other resolutions that you had for your own life?
Well, in terms of collecting, I think the challenge of any long-term collector is to not give in to FOMO, and to be careful what you pre-order. So I guess, in the last month or two, I've really trimmed down my pre-order list. I canceled several pre-orders. In some cases, I was able to get my money back because they were delayed. And in other cases, I ate the $20 or $25, but which I'd rather not do, because money's still money. But I guess my resolution is only pre-order if it's absolutely essential, like it's a limited figure that I really want, that's a need for me. Otherwise, I'm going to wait till they come out, and if it's not on Sideshow, I'll take my chances and try to get it someplace else, because I've gotten several pre-orders over the last year that I succumbed to. The day came out, day one pre-order, and then I don't really want that. And the example I'll give, as much as I love Wolverine, I got several Wolverine figures. The Artisan Wolverine that they came out with from Age of Apocalypse, from Deadpool and Wolverine, I don't really need that figure. I never was really into that storyline. So, but I still pre-ordered it, and I ended up canceling it because I'm like, I don't need this. Let someone else have a shot at it. So that's kind of an example of Batman Returns. I love Keaton Batman, but I already have two Keaton Batmans. I have 89 and I have the modern suit. Do I need 3 Keaton Batmans? Now, some of you on on chat, some of you on the piano are like, "Yeah, dude, I need 3 Keaton Batmans. I need 5 Keaton Batmans. I need 6 Keaton Batmans."
All the Keatons, yeah.
Everyone's got their figure. I mean, for me, it's like Darth Vader, or So I understand that, but it's just making those. It's tough, dude. It's tough trying to decide because all these things are awesome, and I want them all, but I can't have them all. So it's trying to figure out what is essential and be diligent of only ordering and pre-ordering what is the most essential.
Yeah, that's totally fair. Yeah, well said, man. Well said. Mr. Harrison, I'm going to pull you up on solo here, buddy, because this is the first time I've had a chance to see your crispy display in behind you. I like that Joker sitting there, by the way. That looks freaking sweet. How long have you been collecting for? How long have you been collecting for?
When did I start? About, I don't know, 2015, I'd say I started.
Okay, yeah.
Got my first one, I think.
Quite a ways, no?
Yeah,
that's awesome. What was your first figure?
A shock to no one. It was Henry Cavill, Man of Steel.
There you go. Yeah, all right.
That was my first one. But then I sort of had a collection, and then I sold it all off, and then I came back.
Right.
So yeah, but yeah, there's a lot.
That makes sense.
This stuff is on, and then there's more stuff on this side.
That's amazing. I'm surrounded on both sides myself, so I know that feeling. I always feel like you can only ever see the same 7 figures behind me. But
yeah, and this is my favorite wall over here because I've got like the statues here, and you just can't see it.
Hell yeah, dude. So since you've been collecting for over 10 years then at this point, what kind of resolutions do you give yourself as a collector every year? Do you give yourself any? Do you have limits for yourself? I know from our friends that you have some younger people in your life too, some little ones, right? So obviously, there's all these life priorities stacking up on us all the time, but we're still collectors. You still make it work. So what does that look like for you?
I am already pretty strict with what I purchase. I try to be. But I always try to tell myself every year, just limit, like Adam was saying, just limit yourself a little bit more. You don't need necessarily 2 of a character all the time. And then I sort of said that to myself this year. I was like, no, this year is going to be the year I'm going to do that. And then literally about 10 minutes later, they announced Indiana Jones. And I was like, shit. I was like, I really like that figure, and I don't need 2 Indiana Joneses. But now I'm really tempted to get 2 Indiana Joneses.
No, you gotta wait, man. Just get one, because guaranteed, if they've put the money in, we're gonna see some other variants as well. Guaranteed. But we'll talk more. We'll talk more about Indy down the line in the show here. But well said though. So really, just kind of trying to be strict with yourself, be strategic, right? But also, that gives you the opportunity to buy those when those ones that you don't expect pop up, and you're like, hey, you know what? Because I've been smart about it, maybe I can lock that one in. Maybe I could treat myself, right? So,
exactly.
Cool, man. No, very, very well said. Very well said. Vita's calling you out here. She says, "You strict, please." So she knows something that we all don't know. There's a whole side of that room, my friends, that he's not showing us, like you said. So, what about you, Dave? Is your resolution to collect less Wolverines this year, or more? And how does your display shaping up into 2026, my friend? What does that look like for you?
My resolution is to collect only Wolverines this year. Because the flood's coming, my friends. I am building my arc right now. I'm getting ready for this shit, because damn. Nah, dude, it is same as Adam, right? Like this past year has seen me living through the error of my ways, so to speak. I've had to let a lot of stuff go. I've had to move stuff out of the collection that just wasn't fitting. And I've had to be more harsh with myself on what I really, really want to do with my collection and the shape of it and everything. And I had to make decisions like, maybe Wednesday doesn't fit. Maybe Pennywise doesn't fit. Maybe Chewbacca ain't coming home. I'm still on the fence with that one. I don't know yet. But my collection has been going gradually more into X-Men territory as more stuff has been happening, and I've been loving it. So the more mutants, the merrier. And I think I'm pretty well good on my Star Wars stuff. There's a couple that I don't have that I need to get that I really want, but maybe I don't get anything new until I get those. Stuff like that. There's a lot of big tickets coming up. Catwoman's coming. The jazzing Catwoman is coming.
Yep.
Like this quarter, maybe next quarter. I don't know.
That'd be sweet.
But that's there's no payments when you're not going through jazzing directly. That's a big payday right there. So
100%.
Gotta be ready for that.
Dude, between the Blitzway orders that I got, the 4 Ghostbusters and the Blitzway DeLorean, and then the Jazz Inc. Mayor Penguin and Catwoman, I'm like, oh man, this is going to be a rough quarter for me when they send all those invoices at the same time. Like, I don't know if I anticipated that very well.
Those Ghostbusters, I was so tempted to pre-order those because I love that movie. But same thing, I'm like, I got to find space for all these, and there's other things I need more than that. So oh man, I'm glad I didn't get those. I mean,
space is a factor.
I wish I had those, but I'm glad I didn't.
The crazy side of myself the other day was like, maybe I should get the Afterlife Ecto one just because it's the most accessible, and like most people wouldn't know the difference, right? You could still pair the 4 Ghostbusters with it. And then I was like, no, put your phone down. What the hell are you thinking? You definitely don't have display space for a fridge sized vehicle in anywhere in this apartment. So put the phone down, take your credit card offline, and do whatever you got to do. Throw it off the balcony if you have to. Mr. Philly, you have one of the best displays out there in terms of collecting, in my opinion. Some of your figure videos, you do a lot of work and just in customizations, but also really, I think, one of the best utilizations of additional accessories, right? You always seem to find ways to use accessories in other cool ways. That Magneto helmet comes to mind, right? For your your Red Hood Joker, right? Where it's like, that's so cool. It's such a great idea, but that just takes it out of, an accessories box. So for you, what is resolution around collecting look like for you every year? When you go into every year, what are you envisioning for yourself? Maybe that's not even resolution. Maybe it's just your path. What's next for your display?
My plan has always been the same. The only thing different that I'm going to do differently this year is something really silly. You know how you open let's say you have a box coming in, you open your Hot Toys box, and then you're trying to get rid of those plastic little things wrapped around their ankles of the figure. I'm eventually going to figure out how to open those without ripping them up.
No doubt.
That's my New Year's resolution right there, because I'm sure everybody can relate. That's a pain in the ass. I hate that. So
just when you think you got the right seam on it and you're pulling it, you actually make it tighter somehow, and then you're like,
you occasionally get good ones where you can just grab the tape and gently peel it off, but then the next one's always stubborn. So, and it's funny because it's just it happens a lot. It happens a lot. And it's like you kind of want to keep those too, because if ever you want to resell the figure, people like that stuff when you keep that kind of stuff together. So definitely that's my New Year's resolution for 2026.
That's awesome. Do you have one figure this year that you have in mind to customize? Is there anything that you're like doesn't exist yet that you're like, I'm going to figure out a way to get this into the display?
Oh dear, I just had something in mind in my head and it's completely lost what it was.
I'll come back to you.
I'll
you think of it.
I'll tell you later. These things just come and then they go, but they'll come back again. So
That's right. Guys, well said. I think for me, in terms of resolution this year, to echo some of what you are already saying there, like Dave and Harrison, even Adam, right? Like, this was the year that I think I've sold the most figures that I thought I once wanted, that once were in my displays. I was like, you know what? Now I want that character more, or maybe I want that version more, and what I was doing in the past was buying variants of characters because the variant that I wanted didn't exist quite yet or was inaccessible. They're too high in the aftermarket. So, I bought the one that was current versus the one that I really wanted. I got to stop doing that because those are typically the figures that get relegated to the bottom shelf first because they're cool, but I don't need to see them as often, and then there are typically the ones that get sold out the door after the fact. And what I found in the secondary market this year, at least here in Canada, is the secondary market sucks. You're practically giving these things away at this point. It got to the point with my one figure, my Days of Future Past Wolverine, I've just taken it off of Facebook Marketplace because I had it down to as low as like $1.90, like Canadian, which is what, $130 American. Nobody was buying it. So I'm like, well, I'm not going to go any lower than that. I might as well just keep it. I'm just going to keep it in the box. I'll keep it for 10 years or whatever. I'll keep it until I own a house and have a bigger display room and can do something else with it, right? So trying to not buy the variant that currently exists just because that's the only one that I can get, but waiting, being more patient for the character that I like really want the representation of. And then my resolution for my personal life this year is to try and buy a house. Many of you guys know my life very much changed about 3 years ago. I was engaged, I owned a house at the time, my relationship ended, sold the house, ended up in this apartment, which dramatically reduced the amount of space that I have in life. And I'm like, you know what? It doesn't make sense for me to keep spending so much money on collecting if my next goal is to buy a house, to have something that's my space and that I can grow more into. So while I'm going to stay collecting quite a lot because I've got the channel and I've got you guys and I love the collecting hobby, all of those things, if I'm a little tighter there, I can be a little bit more affluent so that I can get that house locked in. So mark my words, guys, within the next year, by 2027, the goal is for the Ben Thomas Show to have a different looking room, hopefully my own place again. And then I can collect more again. Because once you have the goal set, then fuck it, like spend all the money on the toys. Who cares? So we'll go from there, guys. But thank you so much for getting warmed up with us. We have almost 70 people watching in the first 20 minutes. You guys are amazing. If you don't mind, hit the like button as you've hit, in the car coming in the door. Anyways, I would definitely appreciate that. It just gets the show out to everybody who can't watch live. Definitely, really, really appreciated you guys being here. Let's talk quickly about this. So the X-Men teaser for Avengers Doomsday is set to be released online next Tuesday. So that's this coming Tuesday, it sounds like. And kind of what we've alluded to already, in the intro there was, for me, I've seen this kind of trend with these first initial teasers for the Doomsday film so far being kind of shot on what looks like a potato camera. It looks like somebody sitting in the theater with a video camera and recording something, right? And then, strategically releasing it. And then typically within like a day, maybe two, we actually see the high definition trailer come out from Disney. And sure enough, it's the same footage that we saw through the lens of that potato. So but the three times we've now seen these teasers, they look like they're shot the same way. It looks like it's basically the same person. And so my tinfoil hat, I honestly think this is a strategy from Disney. I think that they're leaking it on purpose to get people talking about it so that when they leak it, or when they release it, I should say, people are already hyped. Because it's working for them. People are talking about it, and then they're going and watching the trailer proper anyways, which is cool. And in the most recent teaser that we just saw a day or two ago, we got to see James Marsden making his return to the screen as the iconic Cyclops, but not just his Cyclops look from the X-Men Fox days, but a much more Jim Lee inspired look at Fox, or I should say at Marsden here, or as Cyclops. So that got me really, really excited. I was already excited about the prospect of Chris Evans coming back because, I like Chris Evans, but I was hoping that wouldn't take away from Anthony Mackie's run. He's still just getting started as Cap, so hopefully they can find a really good complementary story to have him back. Same with Thor. I was happy to see Thor making a return because, again, those are some of the OGs when it comes, of course, to the Avengers. But to know for sure that the X-Men are going to be showing up in Doomsday makes me excited, and especially if they've got the more iconic look, right? Like, Dave, we just saw Wolverine in his yellow and blue suit, which we've been waiting for over 20 freaking years. We finally got it. So it would be a backtrack for me if we didn't see them more comic inspired in this film. But I was really excited about it. Adam, have you had a chance to see the teaser, and did this get your excitement even higher than it was before? Or are you still relatively neutral? Because I think on the previous two teasers you were still kind of relatively neutral, excited for what it was, but that was about it. Where this land for you?
Avengers Doomsday is the most anticipated content for me in 2026 this year. I can't wait. I mean, you have the Russo brothers coming back, and when it comes to the MCU, they're batting 1,000. Captain America Winter Soldier, Captain America Civil War, Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame. Those are I think, along with, say, Guardians of the Galaxy, and which they didn't do, the first one, and the first Iron Man, that's the best MCU that we've had. So I think it's, I'm very excited. I love those original X-Men movies and Days of Future Past. So I'm excited for James Marsden to come back. I think he's a great actor. If you want to see an excellent show this past year, check out Paradise on Hulu. James Marsden plays the president of the United States. It is such a good show. So he's a very good actor. I'm excited for this. And I've been watching these videos. I admire Dave's discipline for just waiting for those official Marvel videos to be released. I don't have that discipline. So I'm on X. I'm looking through my Twitter feed, and I watch this stuff like it's the Zapruder film, trying to see if it's real, and analyze these videos. I don't fall for the fake ones. I think they're kind of easy to tell which ones are AI generated, but they're getting to the point where you do sometimes have to look closely to see and do it, kind of do a little search sometimes. I can't wait. This is the only thing I'm a little concerned about is all the figures are going to be coming out, and that is going to and where I'm going to do with all those figures. Because Hot Toys is going to go nuts with there's going to be next 2027 or the end of 2026 is going to be just like every Avengers Doomsday figure they're gonna release.
I'm in the same boat, Adam, where like I'm already pre-anticipating loving it, so also still mentally making some space and some dollars reserved for collectibles. And that was actually something that I meant to mention in my resolution section, whereas I have to stop to a certain extent with the recency bias collecting, right? I watch something today, I love it, I immediately want to buy something from it. If these things have staying power and sticking power in my chest, that's when I think I should collect them more often. But there's been so many times where I've bought myself something because I came out of the theater, and then 6 months later, not even just 6 scale, sometimes they're 1/12 scale, right? Like the Avatar figures. When I saw Way of Water a couple years ago with a friend, loved the film, immediately went to Walmart, bought some figures, but now they're in a box in my closet because I don't have a good place to put them. And so many dollars spent over the years from the recency bias collecting. But on the other hand, I also know for sure that if I love the film and they puts out some freaking sweet 6 scale figures, like there's no way that's not going to have my attention and get me to buy at least 1 or 2, if not 15. Like, how many could be possible? How big was the end game line, right? Like it's insane.
Cyclops in a Jim Lee outfit. I mean, that's got to be a nice
like 100%, right? And I think for me, especially going back to the Fox X-Men, because even if they have slightly different looks in this film, right, the more comic inspired look, I've loved the Fox X-Men film since I was that age, right? Like, and so that has had some staying power for me. And so, yeah, I mean, that would probably be the tipping point. But what about you, Harrison? Like, talking about X-Men here and if you've seen the teaser, that would be great. If not, does the prospect of the X-Men just being in Doomsday get you excited? This cast is getting to be freaking massive at this point. So I don't know how they're going to give enough time for everybody to even have like screen time, if I'm honest. But where are you landing on this one?
Yeah, I have seen it. And I think this one's definitely got me the most excited. I was really happy to see that Chris Evans is coming back, but to see what they're doing with the X-Men, I think is very exciting, especially Cyclops, because when I saw that he was coming back, the first thing I thought of is if they put him in the comic suit, I'm going to buy that figure because it's just going to be so good. So him and Doom are the two that when that film was announced and then all the actors and cast of it, those two were the first ones that in my head I was like, Doom is going to be amazing and Cyclops will look awesome if they do it right. And it looks like they're doing it really, really well. And just like Adam, I think Doomsday could be the most anticipated film for this year.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. X-Men, what about you, buddy? Would you try to go in on like the X-Men lineup for like the film proper, even if the film doesn't hit as hard for you, just because of your love for the X-Men? Or do you have to love the film in order to consider collecting from this at this point?
X-Men's X-Men, baby.
Yeah,
it's all good. Like I don't understand the needing to love a movie to appreciate the character. I hate the Snyderverse, but I love Batfleck. I have that figure because he's awesome.
Yeah. Well, to that point, I detest the Flash movie. It's a piece of junk, but I love Keaton Batman, and I love that Keaton modern suit, and I got the Keaton modern suit. It's a great figure. So that's a great point.
He is a fantastic figure. Yeah. But even beyond that, like I mentioned before, kind of snarkily, a dearth of X-Men figures, and it's true. Like we never have gotten a lot, not in 6 scale, in regards to X-Men. Yeah, we'll get a Wolverine here and there, but where are the Fox X-Men? You know, show me one.
Totally.
Right outside of Wolverine, show me one. There's no Rogue. There's no Jean Grey. There's no Cyclops. Not from like Hot Toys or anyone official that I know of anyway. And if they are, they're so far back in time that I'm not buying that today at all. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this as much as I'm looking forward to the Wolverine game. Ooh, they're gonna have my money this year. Damn. But yeah, like and sure there are certain characters that I want to see more than others. I'm very happy to know that Nightcrawler is back. And they better make a figure of him.
Hell yeah.
Like Cyclops will be cool. I'm a little nervous about how they're going to present that figure. Like, you know, are we just gonna light up his visor, or are we gonna give him like weird, you know, stuff to project out because he kind of needs it?
Sure.
But like, you're not gonna be able to light it up. It's, you know, we will get the minutia isn't there yet to get into, but I'm very excited for these. I will very much be getting these figures, so long as, you know, it's not some crazy catastrophic thing that I can't get behind. But
for sure. Keep in mind, Dave, this will only be 1.0s of the Doomsday. So they'll give us the first ones with button cell batteries, and then when the 2.0s come out in 3 years from now, then you'll have the USB to light up Jim Lee inspired visor from Cyclops. Don't worry about it. You got time.
Just give me Psylocke. Somebody give me Psylocke. That's really all I
Hell yeah.
Come on.
Hell yeah, dude. I'm excited to see how it goes for you. I hope that you like the movie as much. And I think, you know, you made an interesting point there, because there are a lot of people, myself included, that will often say that I need to love the film in order to collect from it. But that's not always the case. If I really look at it kind of under the lens, there's been lots of times where I have collected characters because I like the character, not as much the content that it's coming from. And I think you're right. The Snyderverse characters that I have in display, those are perfect examples. I think that Gal Gadot figure looks amazing as Wonder Woman, but she wasn't necessarily my favorite Wonder Woman. You know what I mean? Like, where she goes. So same with Batfleck. When I first saw him on screen and he was using a gun to shoot people, didn't love it, but that's because I was so conditioned by the Nolanverse at that point that Batman doesn't use guns. So it ripped so much away from that section of lore that I liked of Batman. But hey, Batman has guns in different comic variants as well, so there's something to be said for that. Billy, last but not least, buddy, while Adam restarts his setup here, what are your thoughts on the teaser, if you've seen it? If not, what's your level of excitement for Doomsday as we progressively get closer to it? Now we're finally in 2026, which means that's a this year movie at this point, which is crazy.
I don't think we're ready. And I'm telling you why, because No Way Home, Deadpool and Wolverine, I forgot what else, even Avengers, Endgame, those are all billion-dollar films, and Hot Toys just did, I think minimum was like between 13 to 15 figures per film. And I heard that this is really aiming really high, but I think Disney's trying to hit 3 billion with Doomsday.
Jesus.
I don't know if that's
insane.
possible, but if you do 3 billion and you multiply that times 15 figures, you're looking at least 45 figures for, especially for a big ensemble like this. So, no, I have not seen the trailer. I kind of a little thrown off why they decided to do this weird, go to the movie thing. I guess they're trying to get people back into the movies. That makes perfect sense. But usually you think but usually they'll release a trailer and they'll say, oh, this is like the highest trailer that broke records and so forth and so forth. So usually I was thrown off when they did that. So I haven't seen anything, but I have seen, and I like to think they're real, but it's AI with AI, around. It's a little hard to believe, but it looks pretty authentic. But I've seen promo shots of Cyclops and X-Men. Oh my God, dude. You're gonna love that
100%.
suit, and you're gonna want a figure for Cyclops because I think what they did is they learned their
100%.
lesson around after seeing the X-Men '97, and they're giving them Cyclops justice and the character. I think they're gonna pass this on with the film. So looking forward to that. But yeah, that suit, it's like, oh my god, it looks great because I'm a big Jim Lee fan too. So
Hell yeah, that's something I really even liked about the X-Men '97 animated show that they'd given us. Like they
Yep.
made Cyclops there a badass, like he should be.
you did.
And I honestly think that they really nerfed James Marsden in the original X-Men films, like
Yes.
from Fox.
Yeah.
Like they just didn't really give him because it was the Wolverine show, right? I mean, shout out to Hugh Jackman. I freaking love that guy, but like they
Did them dirty,
they nerfed him.
Ben. Sorry,
Yeah.
but they did him dirty because he went to go do Superman Returns with Brian, what's his
Oh,
face, and they got
Yeah.
mad and they kind of cut him off. So he could have been still, but I mean, he's available, but that's why they did that with X-Men 3.
I'll be excited to see how much better that version is. Guys, we have 96 people watching live. Guys, thanks so much for getting nuts with us here on Sunday, getting warmed up with some X-Men discussion, that's for sure. Honest Hansel, one of our channel members, member for 22 months already. That is insane, dude. Thank you so much. He says, hit the like button, folks, and Happy New Year nuts. You'll love to see it. Okay, let's talk a little bit about Stranger Things here, guys. I'm going to put this banner on. We don't have to go crazy spoilers, don't get me wrong, because I want it to be something that's like, basically something that we can talk about without it being too crazy. But on the other hand, I also want to make sure that everybody realizes there will be some spoilers that come out of this discussion, because it's really hard for me to talk about something without any spoiler at all, especially something like Stranger Things. So you've been warned. You've had 5 days to watch it or 4 days to watch it. If you missed it, hate to see it. Guys, Stranger Things has finally come to an end after a decade of being on the air, and it's crazy to me, in some of the final scenes of the show, them giving us some flashbacks to them as younger actors, because man, did they start out as really young kids. Like it's wild. Like they've really grown up being these characters, and that was really cool to see. I still think, for my own heart and love of the show, that season 4 was the best season. I truly feel that way. I felt like it had the highest stakes. It had the most threat in terms of Vecna actually really killing people in that season. Like he seemed really dangerous. And going into season 5, when they cliffhangered us at the end of season 4 with the ground opening up and being exposed to the underneath or whatever the heck they call it, or the upside down. Like to me, I was like, oh man, season 5 is going to be a shit show. Demigorgons are going to be coming out of the ground constantly. Like it's going to be apocalypse on Earth. And that's not really what ended up happening in season 5. So to me, what I thought was going to be the case felt a little bit deflated. Now, I'll talk about some of the things that I liked first. I think the wins here for me, character chemistry still there. I liked and enjoyed every story that was going on in the background, whether it was Murray, whether it was everything going on with Max, everything going on with Hot, everything going on even with the little sister, who did a great job acting in the season. Like, credit to her. Like, she had a lot of screen time and she did a great job. I liked that they wrapped up the series really well. I think some of the final moments there together, coming back and kind of dialing it in again, just as friends in the basement playing Dungeons and Dragons. I think that was really heartfelt and really sweet. I think the things that got me excited from the past were things like getting to explore a little bit more of the Upside Down. I was excited to see what that would look like in season 5, because again, when they were there in season 4 and Eddie Munson got killed by those bats, like it seemed like the scariest place imaginable. And that's where season 5 lost me a little bit. There was lots about season 5 that I liked, don't get me wrong, but again, what I thought was going to be the case wasn't there. Suddenly, the Upside Down felt like a barren wasteland. It felt empty of any creatures or really any threat. It was very much just an in-between worlds place. I liked that Demigorgons showed up in the first couple parts of the series, but then they completely disappeared by the end of the movie, like, or end of the show. It just didn't really make a whole lot of sense. And I know the Duffer Brothers said there was an explanation for that, and Vecna really just didn't see this, these kids making much of an effort or a threat, so he just didn't have Demigorgons available and ready. But to me, that seemed just kind of like a hollow reason. I feel like maybe they didn't have the budget for it at that point. Like, I have no idea why, but it seemed weird. I also thought there'd be more death in this series. And I will say that, like, I think there's been this misconception in shows in the past that if you kill too many of your main characters, all the showrunners are doing are appealing to those people who want emotional impact, right? They're just saying, well, we killed them, so now you've got emotion. I think you can definitely do a really good show without killing people and it have great emotion. And I do feel like they gave us that to a certain extent. But after watching Welcome to Derry this year and the sheer threat of Pennywise the Clown to those kids, and not knowing if at any moment somebody would get killed, any moment, let alone some of these big leading up moments and battles and all the things, to me, that set the stakes so high that when I watched Stranger Things, it felt like watching a PG-13 show. There was so much plot armor around these characters by the end of the show that, like, just didn't make sense for them in a world where, like, they should have been killed like 8 different times, and they just kept just being saved. And so that was a little off for me. I thought there was too much plot armor. I thought more people should have died. And then even when, everything happens with Elle at the end of the show, and there is some of that emotion, they undo that within 10 minutes later because it's like, well, maybe she didn't actually die. Maybe if you think about it this way, she didn't. So they even undid that emotion a little bit. So I thought that was wonky. Will, I really didn't like at all in season 4. I thought his character got progressively weaker and weaker and weaker in terms of his, like, character presence. He just didn't do much in season 4 either. Season 5, they definitely amped up his power level a little bit, but even then, what I was very much expecting, what I called a couple weeks ago, was that I thought he would control some of the Demigorgons to go after Vecna, like use his own army against him, sort of thing. And really what it ended up being was Elle just pushing him onto a spike and killing him. I thought within a 6-minute window, that battle went by so quickly after so many years of lead up that Vecna just was eliminated too easily. It was kind of flat for me. And I feel like we never really truly got a sense of what Elle's powers really were. Sometimes she had a hard time flipping over a bus, and then other times she can leap through the thin air basically to get up to the upside down by herself and take out the mind flare and all the things. Crazy. Also, the mind flare being a smoke cloud in the past seemed horrifying because it's like, how do they kill that? Turning it into kind of the kaiju style creature, didn't love that as much either. But so I feel like there was more that I didn't love. Maybe I'm not communicating myself very well. I still enjoyed it. I still had fun with it. I don't know if I would ever watch the series over again. Now that I feel like I've seen it, I kind of feel that I've seen it, and I'm ready to move on from it. And I've already seen that they're talking about having some spin-off series. It sounds like Nancy Wheeler might even have her own spin-off series at this point. So pretty crazy, but I'll leave it there for now. I may think of other things as you guys talk about it. Adam, what was your thoughts of Stranger Things overall, or season 5? How did it end up landing for you?
Well, Ben, I love you, man, but I think maybe I saw the Snyder cut of the Stranger Things finale.
Sure.
I had a somewhat of a different take. I guess let me just say from the outset, and hopefully I was on Gio's show and I got pretty emotional about this. So if I do, I apologize in advance. This, I loved it. Not to bury the lead, I loved it, and here's what I do agree with you. I think that season 1 and season 4 were the best 2 seasons of the show. Now prior to the lead up of the release of season 5, I read an interview with the Duffer Brothers, and they, people were asked them, what are some of the things that people should watch to get in their head of what the Duffer Brothers are trying to convey with season 5? And I believe one of the things they said was Return of the Jedi. And I think that's probably true, because for a lot of people, Empire Strikes Back is their favorite Star Wars film. It's my favorite Star Wars film. And if season 4 was Empire Strikes Back, then this was Return of the Jedi. A lot of things, a lot of things you liked, but maybe not everything you liked about Return of the Jedi. Maybe some people could have done without the Ewoks, or some things in Jabba's palace they didn't like. I don't know. I liked everything about Return of the Jedi, but just knowing what some criticism of that film was. So for me, the ending of Stranger Things was, it was emotional on a lot of levels. I think what the Duffer Brothers have done over the past 10 years is remarkable. As someone who I grew up, I was born in 1973, so I grew up in the late 70s, and really my formative years were in the 1980s. And they took everything that I loved about that decade: Star Wars, X-Men, superhero comics, Back to the Future, John Carpenter horror films, Indiana Jones, E.T., The Goonies, Poltergeist, Spielberg films, a lot of B films, Red Dawn, Rambo, and the things like the heyday of the shopping mall, as we saw in season 3, riding around your neighborhood unaccompanied by an adult in your bicycle, without your bike helmet on, without any safety, riding around at night. My parents, I was 10, 11 years old, 12 years old. Did my parents know where little Adam was? No, they didn't know. They actually had TV commercials back then. It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
Yeah,
I saw a post on X the other day, about this show. Is this real that kids just roam around, in late, at all days, and the parents didn't know? Yes, that's what life was like then. And then you combine that with Dungeons and Dragons, some of the awesome music of that era, The Police, Metallica, Prince, of course, Kate Bush, and then they took things that were not so great about that decade. Child kidnapping, that was a major issue we'd hear about often, and child kidnapping and murder. The Cold War fear of nuclear annihilation, bullying, and they put it in a blender, and they gave us this beautiful show, Stranger Things. So, 10 years ago, we started watching the show, my wife and I, and we watched the first season on our own, like a week after it came out. We loved it. And then my daughter, at the time she was in elementary school, about to go into middle school, her friend told her about it, and she freaked her out. So and we didn't want to show it to Emily, but what did Emily do? She just watched, she watched it on her own, unbeknownst to us, and she loved it. And then we watched the first season with her, and we saw as the characters aged in that show, so did my daughter. They went to middle school. My daughter went to middle school. They went to they went to high school. My daughter just started high school, and when season four aired 3 years ago, it's hard to believe 3 seasons between these shows, but it wasn't their fault. That's part of it's the strikes, the pandemic, and all that. And then this year, my daughter graduated high school, and the characters at the end of this last season in 1989, and they're in that timeline graduated high school. So it's emotional, because for 10 years you watch these characters age. I spent a lot of brain power. Maybe I wasted a lot of brain power, I don't know, thinking about this show. So my generation had the original Star Wars trilogy, and for my daughter's generation, she had and loved Stranger Things, loves the show. So it was very bittersweet, those final moments where they're playing D&D, and you see the characters are reflecting on the end of their childhood, and I reflected on the end of my daughter's childhood. But I also, this past year I lost my dad, who is very important to me in terms of my collecting and my becoming a geek. I also lost my best friend's mom, and we went to her. She was kind of like the Mrs. Wheeler of our neighborhood, and we'd go to that house, and we'd play Dungeons and Dragons, and we'd play Atari, and we'd play Nintendo, and we'd ride our bikes around the neighborhood like the kids in Stranger Things. Hawkins was that could have been my town. That could have been a lot of people's towns who grew up in 1980s America, suburban towns in America. So it was, it hit me. It really hit me. Just thinking about that ending, tears me up inside. I guess we can quibble. I think listen, a lot of things you said, where the hell did Demogorgons go? Yeah, I understand that. You can take apart these things, and that maybe sometimes the part of our geekdom is going back and looking at, why did this happen? Like Kevin Smith in Clerks does like a great monologue, these characters about the second Death Star. Like, these guys were union workers. Why did they when they're blowing up the Death Star in Return of the Jedi, you're killing a bunch of union guys who are just building the Death Star. So, and that's part of the fun of these projects. But I think any mark of the success of any saga is, like, do you feel the journey is worth it? Does it strike that emotional core in you? For me, at least, I felt that. I felt, by that metric, I think it was a success. It made me feel something, like, and I hadn't felt this emotional about something since I saw Avengers Endgame. So yeah, I loved it.
That's amazing, dude. I see a lot of folks in the chat agreeing with you. And I mean, it's hard for me not to as well. I when you talk about the nostalgic side of it, the references, just some of the love that they've obviously put into it over the years, I think that all did hit well. And my take aside, guys, don't get me wrong, I don't think that they didn't stick the landing. It's not that I didn't like the way that they finished it. There were just elements that did suspend some of my disbelief. There were some things that I was like, oh, but why this if that, and why this if that, and like some of those questions came up. But again, that was part of the fun of watching it, though, too. Like, it wasn't like I was like, oh, I hate this now. Not at all. It was very much more along the lines of just some fine tuning, I think, that could have been done that would have just got it to that next, like, 10 out of 10 level. I'd still give it like an 8.5 out of 10. I still loved it, and it still made me tear up. At one point in the episode said I think the only person that I wouldn't be sad about dying would be 11 at this point, and then they still got tears out of me. They still, and the scream from their friends in that scene was just heart-wrenching. When Vecna died and I realized there was still an hour left of the show, I was convinced that something else more messed up might still happen. I was surprised how much time they gave as well to these characters to kind of show them out, right? To show what's going to happen with their life now. What does their next steps look like? And I thought that was lovely. A little on the long side, but definitely, like, gave it the time to breathe. So well said, Adam. Very, very well said, as always, my friend. What about you, Harrison, Viking Collectibles? Have you had a chance to watch the season finale? What are your thoughts on the show overall, if you did?
Yeah, I watched it when it was releasing. I don't know if I can add much more to what you guys have said, though. Like, I love to hear when other collectors and fans speak about things that they're so passionate about, because it just I don't know, there's something about that, just seeing the passion come from someone. I would feel like I'm, like, right in the middle of both of you. I really love it. I think Stranger Things is one of the best modern TV shows that has been around. But I was also just a little bit disappointed with certain choices. The Vecna fight, I felt just needed more to it for me. I was, especially with the way they were building up season 5, like with the 3-4 episodes, and then the ending and Will getting his powers and things like that. I felt like they kept just building and building and building. And I was expecting this really big grand finale where, I said it on another stream, I was expecting a fight similar to Civil War with Cap and Iron Man against Cap and Bucky against Iron Man, and I was expecting that with Will and 11, almost like a tag team fight almost.
Sure.
And the way they did kind of have that, but just not to the level I was expecting. But there's a few other little bits and pieces here and there, but there's nothing in it that made me think, oh, this is just awful. Like, no. They gave the time to send off the characters in a way that they needed to be sent off, I felt. Like, as you said, you had a good hour of just that. Again, giving all the characters you've had all these years with these amazing characters. I think there's also a show where it doesn't happen often for me, especially, where I care about every single character in the show. That you get the other ones where you get your favorites. Walking Dead, you've got like, oh, I really like Rick, and I really like Daryl, and I like Negan, but then there's a couple of others like, well, if you die, I don't really care if you die. But with this cast and what they've done, like every single child, like you said, Holly was amazing character in this season. Like she was really like, they seem to just cast amazing child actors, which is something that I love from it. Same with Welcome to Derry. The kids in that were absolutely amazing. They're just so talented, and we've grown up with these for the past 10 years. They needed to absolutely nail it, and while I didn't think they totally nailed it, it definitely was not bad, and I enjoyed it, and it was a good end, is what I felt. But yeah, I think if you haven't watched Stranger Things, you need to watch Stranger Things because it's great.
Definitely watch it if you haven't had a chance. It's it's funny because I was thinking about Game of Thrones, and I've seen people say, to anybody who had the criticism of not enough people died, the opposite criticism to that can be, yeah, but they didn't want a Game of Thrones where everybody dies, or Walking Dead where some of your favorite people die, and then you just give up on the show entirely because you're like, again, most of us who stopped watching Walking Dead say it's around the time that Glenn got killed. And it's like, I didn't realize Glenn as a character even had that much impact for me until they killed him off. And then I was like, yeah, I'm kind of just done with this. And so like, fair enough. But again, on the other hand, like some of this threat level was insane. The fact that the Demogorgons could be spawned anywhere, they set that up early in the season, that then Demogorgons could open a portal anywhere they want, anytime they want. I get it that there needs to be a show. But like, if you give that, those creatures and Vecna that much power, and then he doesn't use it to take out any of the people who might mess with his plans, to me, that's like ignoring a part of the plot that they've given in order to show how powerful he is. He just stops using that to his advantage, which again, mind blowing. Also, I saw a meme. You gotta love memes on the internet these days of Max's run to through Vecna's territory to the running up the hill song. A scene so goated that they needed to recreate it 3 times. I'm like, man, it's
my favorite one is have you seen the meme of I think I shared it. It's Max and Holly. They're having their discussion before she jumps through the portal, it's someone used AI to put like podcasting, so like their new podcast, Boys Life, they're just taking their time to have a pod, like not the threat of Vecna coming. So yeah.
That's awesome. Derek was a shout out to, like, he was a funny kid. I liked a lot of that. I liked that Hop finally ends up with the mom. I can't remember her name now off the top of my head, but that was nice. And I love the fact that she was the one, don't fuck with don't fuck with family, right? And chops his head off. Like, that was just like, hell yeah. And some of the flashes that were going through her head, seeing her ex-boyfriend get killed by the Demogorgons, and all the times that like Vecna's messed with her family and everything, that got me teary, because it was like, man, like she's been through a lot just like the rest of them, and just the sheer amount of worry that she's carried through the seasons, that was great. So how did it turn out for you, Philly? What did you have a chance to watch the show? Have you had a chance to kind of see the ending, and did anything hit for you at all, or no? Didn't see it. That's okay.
Sorry, okay. I'll get to it eventually. I'm still behind a lot of smash hits like Walking Dead and this one. So eventually I'll get to it, and usually it happens when kind of my kids grow up and they'll kind of want to see it, and we'll do that. So
that's fair. And I don't think you've seen it either, right, Dave? Is that correct?
No, eventually I'll get back on Netflix.
Yeah, that's fair. No, that's fair. And it's a big commitment, if I'm honest. So Brick Artemis says, will Hot Toys do Stranger Things? I feel like now that they're adults, the chances are a lot higher. I think when they were younger, I think it was kind of off. I just don't think that the Hot Toys would have touched it. I know it was 3-0, I think, that did the other options that are existing right now in 6 scale. And some of those look pretty decent anyways. I think it's Anthony's 6 scale Mafia. His display with some of his Stranger Things 3-0 characters with some arcade style displays at one point looked really, really cool together. So, but no, I think overall, at least from kind of what Adam said, what Harrison said, how I feel, I think the show is worth watching. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, definitely check it out. It certainly didn't offend me like season 8 of Game of Thrones did, where they spent 7 seasons building such wonderful storylines just to slap you in the face with half of them and call it a day. Like, it was nothing like that. Like, it was still a very satisfying ending overall. There was just a couple things that I feel like if they'd had more time to tweak them, could have been cooler. I would have liked to see a little bit more with the fight with Vecna, and I would have liked to see Eleven's powers get a little bit more dialed in. It felt like she just constantly pushed things, but like there's only so much to which that can be effective. Like I honestly thought like that. I thought they would need Will in order to destroy Vecna with his own army. I thought that was the only way, because earlier in the season, even like end of part 1, the first couple episodes where it ends with Will, destroying the Demogorgons, and you're like that was crazy. But at that point, those guys, like those Demogorgons were ripping through military targets, shooting rounds after rounds after rounds at these things, and couldn't take them down, and just getting absolutely devastated. And Vecna same, right? Getting shot like crazy, showing that bullet damage was no longer going to be effective against him. It showed it. And then them showing up at the end with guns and a flare gun and some of these things, I'm like, how is this going to be, like, how do they even think this is going to work for them, right? And again, just some of what they set up as the scariness level was diminished for me just a little bit, but otherwise I thought it was cool. So guys, we'll move on, but thanks for chatting with us about it, and thanks for sticking around. We still have 72 people watching live. Thank you so much for getting nuts with us today, guys. If you don't mind, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't had a chance already. We're on the road right now towards 70,000 subscribers. I think we're just under 63k right now, so the channel's exploding and it's been fun to watch. So if you guys are enjoying the content, we'd love to have you back here week over week. A little bit of housekeeping really quickly before we say hi to everybody in the chat. If you are interested in becoming a channel member, one of our Classy Nut crew, shout out to Classy Thomas. We lost him in 2025. Miss that guy every single day. We've now made the Classy membership here ready for you guys. You can do the emojis or the Hall of Nut Armor, so your different levels as you progress. Several of you guys now are already at the Terminator stage. I've got Dean the Dream working on a couple of different nut emojis for me for the new year, so stay tuned for anybody who's a channel member, because we're going to be doing a vote here in January on those. And to everybody who is a Nut King, I've said it a couple times, I've now resent out your stickers. So I ended up having to spend another $500 to get them all reprinted, which sucked, but they've been done and they've been sent. So let me know when you guys start receiving them, because I'm very, very excited for that to be the case. Hopefully no more mail strikes get in the way of that. And thanks for everybody's patience who are Nut Kings for sure. But guys, with all of that said here, let's jump into it. I want to say hi to the chat as we always do.
Is that everyone? I can want it more.
Nuts!
Assemble.
Nuts assemble. Let's pull up this here, showing all of our great channel members here as well in the channel. But let's say hi to Valkyrie Magnus, our buddy there. Says, have a great show, Ben and friends. Thanks for being here, buddy, as always. Valkyrie was saying he couldn't make it today because a car flipped on his street and almost struck his family members today. So that sounds terrifying. I'm really freaking happy that didn't happen, but since he was shaken up, he couldn't make it to the show today. I hope his family's okay. Sending all the love to you, buddy, for sure. Fig Poser here with a what up, though. Good to see you. We got Viking Collectibles here on the channel and in the panel. You love to see it. We got Thalia Meyer with us as well. Good to see you, my friend. Thanks for being here as always. One Adam 12th on the panel, co-host, of course, of Let's Get Nuts, and saying hi to everybody here in the chat. We got her geeky side, my friend Vita, here with us, saying hi to Valkyrie and to everybody else in the chat. You love to see it. Good to see you here, my friend Ash Chase, with us here. What's up, plastic crackheads? We have Antoinetta Advincula, says, remember me? Of course. How could I not? You love to see it there. We got CB the Collector. Hey, folks. Good to see you. Travis Molitar in the chat there as well. Just Keith Lee joining us here. Says, whoa, we were talking about leaks and spoilers. Let me know so I can jump off. We will, but we're back and we're just getting into 6 scale news now. So hopefully we didn't lose you for too long. We got Dougwito77 here. Says, hey everyone, jumping streams. Good to see you, man. Thanks for being here as always. Pedro Lopez, can't speak. Love to see you here, buddy, as well. Smallville fan 72, one of my buddies. We always talk Trek whenever we got a weird Exo 6 release. You love to see it. Music and collectibles. Hey everyone, good to see you. What music do you collect, sir? If you're still watching, let us know. Mr. Brick Artemis, you love to see it. One of my favorite panelists on the Wolfpack Wednesday show. You love to see it. Make sure you join those guys every Wednesday night on the Jedi Knights Watch show, because yeah, great guys over there. I really enjoyed them. Let's see here. We got Mr. X-Men Supreme. Good to see you here, buddy. Figurecraft, both of you guys here on the panel with us today. We got JC Collect says, yo, Ben, good to see you, man. Thanks for being here. I said he was a big fan, so that warms my heart, dude. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for that. Let's see here. I want to make sure I try to get everybody, but since we have so many people, I may miss folks today. So if I miss you guys, I definitely apologize. JB Joker in the chat with us. Good to see you here, buddy. We got Jim Collector, the second great half of the Vita and Jim show over there. You love to see it. Hope you guys can get back on the channel here very, very soon. I'll try to give you guys a little bit more notice. Let's see here. NW Collector saying hi to Valkyrie. We got Collection Obsession, one of our channel members. Good to see you here. We got Dream and Visions here with us as well. Good to see you. 14 Wellington. You love to see it. Good to have you back, buddy. Charleston Jew. What a name. Love to see you back. Let's see here. Just Keith Lee. Good to see you, my friend. S-Beam in the chat. S-Beam. Love to see it. Jeez. Oh my gosh. Tijuana Mike, aka King Churro. Dude, we got to get you back on the show soon, man. We haven't had you here in a while. Let me know when you're available. Honest Hansel in the chat, one of the first channel members to ever win a figure on the Let's Get Nuts show. I hope that figure's still holding up for you. It was a King Shark back in the day. We've got Niculio in the chat. You got to follow him over on Instagram. It's got a really cool Instagram page as well. And Blurred Dad Life here, member for 22 months as well. Happy New Year, everyone. Dude, thank you so much for being a channel member for so long. It means a lot, dude. Let's see here. The Jose Plus. Vita shouldn't be surprised if you message Ben, expect a reply in 5 to 8 business days. He's not wrong. If it was not for YouTube, guys, I would not be on social media. I suck at social media. YouTube is my only real outlet for it. Earth 616 Collector 9 says, hey, then nothing for over an hour. Yeah, that's the second half of Stranger Things. I wouldn't call it nothing, but it was definitely slower than the first hour. That's for sure. Fad Gadget's here with us, saying hey to everyone. He says, I couldn't get past the awful wigs that the characters wore. The hairstylist needs to get another job. That's cutthroat, man. That's cutthroat. Dave's a man cave in real life. Hey guys, have to run to work. Dude, thanks for popping in either way. Giving you a shout out here. He says, have a great show. Happy 2026 to you all. Should be a fantastic year of collecting. Dude, there's so many cool freaking things that are coming to us. We got Moose Stream in the chat here as well. I think that's almost everybody, guys. Thanks so much for bearing with me while I got a chance to say hi to everybody. It means a lot. Darth Malachus, missing lower jaw. Happy cold and rainy Sunday. Dude, we're getting blasted with snow right now. So I don't know if I would take rain or snow over it, but sucks for driving. So, but guys, there you go. Said hi to everybody. Thanks so much for being here as always. If you can hit the like button, if you haven't already. I'm going to say it a couple times throughout the show because I'm one to forget to do that for some of my friends, and I'm trying to get better with that. So if you guys can do it, that would definitely be appreciated. Guys, let's get into the news here now. I want to give a quick special shout out to 6 Scale Treasures. He's an Instagram page that I follow. He's given me permission on my my videos and live streams and stuff to be able to occasionally steal some of his side-by-sides. And we're going to do that today. We're going to look at some side-by-sides of a couple of different figures here. So if you like the side-by-sides that I'm going to show you on the screen today, do me a favor, snap the link here, go over, follow his Instagram page. Give him a like, give him some support because he's supporting me here, to which I appreciate. But guys, let's talk Inart first. Now, I put up a video earlier last week and called it Controversy, right? The Inart Controversy, because let's be honest, I mean, so many of us are Terminator fans. So to find out that Hot Toys is really diving into the, the Terminator 2 Judgment Day line, that's been a very exciting part of 2025 going into 2026. And having Inart step up and do Terminator 1, equally very exciting. Now, when the posts went up for this character, though, and we got to see kind of the price point, initially it showed that the price point would be about $425, which I was rocked by because this character does not have rooted hair. At the time, it looked like a singular figure. And while it came with a pretty decent amount of accessories, the base was pretty basic. There was no like crazy diorama display like we saw with the Harry Potter line, like nothing like that really at all. It was very just plain base. So I thought the $420+ seemed like price gouging, if I'm fully honest. And then there was a live stream with a young lady who was doing her absolute best to answer collector questions. She was doing her best. She seemed like a sweetheart. Good on her for putting herself out there like that. But she didn't feel like she had all the answers well lined up, and seemed like she was kind of trying to answer the questions to the best of her ability. And what ended up slipping was that it turns out that there's a second body. Now, in the solicitation post, I think even as late as yesterday when I took a look, it was still showing one body in the post, not two, which left a lot of speculation around, well, was this girl wrong? Or is Inart backtracking a little bit? Are they pivoting here? Are they seeing that people are being like, $425 for a non-rooted hair figure? Are you fucking kidding me? No chance. And then they go, wait, no, we were kidding. We've got a whole second body, so you're going to be able to have a second display for it, which then makes this figure more like only $200+ per figure. So then suddenly that price is like really palatable. In fact, probably one of the most affordable options for Inart, if that's the case. But again, as early as yesterday, they still haven't even updated their sales post to include the second body that they're saying is going to be in there. So to me, Inart has shown now a couple of times that they make wonderful figures. I have no problem with them. I collect Inart and I collect Hot Toys. I think both have wins. And I think they're great. Except when Inart came out of the scene, 3 years ago, they said that they were going to be excellent communicators and they were going to give us the best quality product. Kind of saying that they were going to try to, outperform Hot Toys. And I think in many ways their figures do, but I think that their communication has started to really truly fall off. Their ability to control the message is just really landing flat for people. And with things like a couple weeks ago, we started seeing posts of Inart boxes saying that you had to videotape your unboxing if you wanted any kind of after sales support. That pissed people off. And then of course, again, with this pivot here on the Terminator, that's been creating confusion. So don't get me wrong, it's hard to talk about controversy and sound positive, because in one way, I don't think Inart had the plan to give us the second body for this figure. I really don't think that they did. I think it was a pivot because they heard what the community was losing their shit about. On the other hand, if we do get a second body, I'm kind of happy about it because I'm going to buy this figure, and then I feel like the value is now there if that ends up being the case. The figure overall looks freaking great. I've seen some people say that this doesn't look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Then I think that they need to go back and rewatch that first film. While I don't think the likeness is perfect, it's pretty freaking close. He looked different in Terminator 1 than he looked in Terminator 2. His face shape was slightly different. He was a younger dude. There was times in the movie where he's actually wearing a wig, so his hair looks a little on the fake side. Like, all of that, I think, looks great here in terms of the figure. You can see here on the comparison side the Hot Toys representation as well. I think if you have that original Hot Toys, it's actually no slouch. You could probably just stick with that one, if I'm honest. I don't think you have to necessarily trade it out. The battle damage, I think, looks really great. I think my major complaint here, honestly, I think they should have still given us rooted hair. Even though it's short, I think they could have made it look more realistic. I think the plastic hair, or the sculpted hair anyways, I think it diminishes its realism just ever so slightly. Makes it look more like a toy than the actor. And he had like this weird frizzy hair thing going on, right? So like, I think they could have nailed that, if I'm completely honest. So all that to say, if it definitely comes with the second body, if they said that they're going to give us more information in January, if that's the case, I will put my pre-order money in this because I do want this figure and I want this character in the display. But I think for them to say we're going to give you more information in January, but they wanted our money in December, I think that that's shitty. I don't think you should give any company money until you know exactly what you're paying for. And so while I like what I'm seeing here, it frustrated me a little too much controversy with Inart for me lately. How has this landed for you, Mr. 1 out of 12?
Well, I'll start out and say I'm a Terminator fan. I have the Hot Toys, the clean and battle damaged T800 from Terminator 2, and I have the T1000. I plan on getting the exoskeleton that's coming out from Hot Toys, and I have the Terminator 1 Tech Noir Terminator.
Mhm.
So I'm a huge Terminator fan, and Arnold fan. I wasn't planning on getting this because for Terminator 1, Tech Noir is the one that's good enough for me. But I think it's going to be a great figure. I collect, like you, I collect both Inart and Hot Toys. I finally just got the Inart Henry Cavill Superman 2 weeks ago, and it is an awesome figure. And I have 3 other Inart figures. I plan on getting the Christopher Reeve Superman. But here's one thing: I will never pre-order an art figure. I will not do it. I will wait till it comes out, and then I'll get it, because I'll pre-order from Sideshow, but I'm not going to pre-order from them. I don't trust it. Now, in terms of how this was communicated, as someone who's intimately familiar with public relations and marketing, it's what I do professionally. I think when the production values in that video were terrible. When my kitchen table unboxings that I do with my family have higher production values than presumably a multi-million-dollar company that produces high-end collectibles, there's something wrong there. I mean, just from the camera angle to the fact that, again, listen, when that Terminator figure fell down, and that's been online, looped, and it'll be playing for the next 30 years, unfortunately.
Ryan Dean said it. One base and one figure fell right off the table.
Yeah.
And not like off the table. Like they didn't even bring it back. It was gone.
Well, I'll give her credit in that, she looks surprised, certainly, like anyone would. But she recovered pretty quickly. She just kept going. So she was a professional in doing that. That's what you got to do. But they should have had someone who was knowledgeable about the figures and wasn't reading from a script. So I just think the video, and then you have the figure as you have him pictured here, or the figure and the movie stills with his iconic sunglasses on, but they just showed the sunglasses on the stand
on the table,
and they had two figures there, and not one of them, they didn't put the sunglasses on them. Like, that's weird. That was, and I was looking at some of the chat comments, like, what about put the sunglasses on? They didn't do it. So I think the video was a failure. The stream was a failure. It's just shocking to me that they don't have better marketing there. I don't know if maybe John should have done it, who's typically their marketer. I
was
think I
wondering
heard
where he was on that, if I'm honest.
I think I was watching Six Scale Mafia's stream the other day, and one of his panelists, Payne, I think his name is, he's a seller, and I guess he said he heard through their grapevine that they did the stream, it was right before New Year's, and key staff people are out, and the woman who was just kind of like, hey, here you go. and that's what happened there, which she's just doing her job, but that's a terrible way to do it, because whenever you go before the public, you got to be prepared, and you need to have your I's dotted and T's crossed. Otherwise, it's embarrassing. And it was embarrassing for their company and embarrassing for the products that they offer. It really was.
Well, especially because Inart has had a tremendous amount of scrutiny in their entire existence so far, right? They're always being compared to Hot Toys. They're always, trying to convince people that they can be a next level collectible. Like, and while it's like they've taken a couple of really great strides forward, right? They've upped their production capacity. Figures are coming out a little bit faster than they used to. We've got to see what's in their future, so we can get a little more excited about their pipeline. Like, they have a couple of wins, and then you're right. Like, what happened? Like, if they didn't have their key players, just wait till the first week of January. Like, I would have been just as excited to talk about Terminator this week as I would have been a week ago, especially if they had a dial in, especially if I knew exactly what I was putting my money down for. Like, all of those things make a critical difference. And when you're asking people for so much money up front, right? I mean, these are expensive items. You gotta at the very least know what's in the package. And like there's no way it got this far along for it to then suddenly just decide that there's a second figure body, or that they've only given us one base instead of two if you can display two figures. Like, none of that makes sense. That to me all seems like reactive responses to negative criticism from some of these announcements, right? So weird, because otherwise it takes away from the coolness of the figure.
Well, and I think anyone who should be on the video as the pitch person for the figure should also be knowledgeable about the movie and really get people excited and talk about scenes. Remember that scene where the Terminator went into the police station, he went into, etc., so forth.
Agreed. Yeah, if you haven't seen the movie, actually, it's one of the reasons that even on my own channel, you guys might notice, right? Like, I don't do a figure preview video for every single hot toy that comes up. I don't. Because if I haven't seen the movie, if I don't know the scene, if I don't know the character, I can't do enough research in 10 minutes to feel like I can talk about it like an expert. So otherwise, if you tune on into my show and all I can say is, well, it looks cool. I've never seen the movie, but I think it's a great figure and I think it's a great likeness, but I've never really seen it. So I don't really know. So yeah, it's cool. Like, you can only listen to that take for more than about 30 seconds before you turn the video off. Cause it's like, okay, well, what does that add to anything? Right. So I won't do a video on those things. And I agree with you. If you're selling the product and you've never seen the movie, holy God, like that seems like it should be a key rule, but also, the internet's a wild place nowadays. You can Google reference photos in about 30 freaking seconds. Like, we're going to talk about the Tobey Maguire here shortly, like the new battle damage one. It blows me away, some of the inaccuracies that are on that figure, considering it took me 2 minutes to find a generated side-by-side photo to reinforce that I wasn't crazy and thinking that this thing was inaccurate. Like, 2 minutes, that's it, of research. That's it. So it blows me away for sure. Well said, Adam. Well said. Harrison, how do you feel about the Terminator franchise potentially? This figure, we have never heard your take, at least I haven't anyways, on Inart versus Hot Toys. How did all this land for you?
Okay, well, Inart and Hot Toys, I don't, it doesn't bother me if I collect both. If you make a good figure and it's a character I want, I'll pick it up.
Hell yeah.
I think I've got 4 figures from them now. And I'll get more. I want to finish the Lord of the Rings line. With this, I think it's lazy, in my opinion, just because the standards that Inart have shown that they can do, and I always go back to like the first base that they did with the Joker with the jail cell. I think that's one of the it's this amazing diorama base. With this, it's lots of little laziness. Then I feel then that adds up to really just lazy in total. So like the eye should be lit up, and not only should it be lit up.
I forgot about that.
It should be lit up with USB as well, and not just batteries. Because I know I think they've done one other light up feature that I know, which was the Chainsaw Man, and his lights light up, but you have to take out this whole thing out the back of his head, and there's a battery and. So nobody wants that in any figure, let alone an Inart figure, which is supposed to be almost the highest of high, which is what they were saying. And with the regards to the sudden change, I don't think it was a pivot at all with the second body. I think they purposely do these things, and I keep saying it every time we do have an Inart release. It's almost like we'll give you the previous version, and then we'll leave it a month. And then we'll go, oh, look at everything we've done and all these amazing improvements that we've done.
Listening. And we're listening.
Yeah, we're listening. I don't think that's at all. I think they know that maybe the first couple of times, but then they realize, oh, we sell more, we get more traction if we do something a little bit bad, and then we do something better because everyone starts talking about it. I think that's so. I think that's what they did with this. I think they'll go, well, let's put out the price that's really high. And people will go, well, I'm not paying that. And then they'll sort of go off. And then we'll say, oh, no, wait, you get 2 figures now. And they're like, oh, hang on, that's amazing. I'm going to buy that now just because you've said there's 2 figures in it. So I don't think it's a bad figure. I just think it's lazy. I think like this base, they could have done something a lot more interesting. Their bases are slowly going more to like a J&D base where it's just black with a slight different top, which is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
But when you start out doing something really, really nice and elegant and something you go, oh, that looks really premium, but there's more to it. I just think when you do something like this, it's just boring. And then you announce you've got 2 figures and you don't announce you've got another base. It's just little things like that where I'm thinking you just need to do a little bit better.
So it's interesting your theory there, because I mean there may be some merit to that. When I posted my video about this a couple days ago, I had a few comments say, that they were aware, these people were aware of Inart communicating that 2 bodies was always the intention, but that it would be a marketing strategy for it to be kind of that, like you said, that staggered approach of, here's what it is. Okay, actually, we're going to give you some more. Okay, we've heard you. Okay, actually, we're going to give you a little bit more as well, right? They did that with the Snape figure. They did that with Gandalf. They did that with a couple, right? Like that. We've seen that trajectory now a couple of times. And I think my criticism of that, if that is their strategy, is just along the lines of what I think it does. And, negative press is still press, right? So hate to say it, but like this Inart video is one of my highest watch videos this month. It hit like 4,000 views because everybody was talking about it. And so negative press is still good press, but I don't like the concept that we need to have negative critical takes in order to get more out of the company. I would still rather them give us their best foot forward and then throw in the occasional add-on. Like I don't mind an extra accessory if they think that they can work it in because their production dollars were good. I think that that's great. But if we're like, this price makes no freaking sense for one figure, like no, like are you J&D now? Like what is happening? And so then they go, well, wait, no, we're going to give you this whole second display look, but without all of the accoutrements to make it a whole second display. Like it feels too afterthoughty for me for it to be a positive win for collectors. It feels more like a reactionary, you had to be critical first, right? Tony Stank head sculpt. Would that head sculpt have ever got changed if people didn't meme like the shit out of it, right? Like everybody hated that sculpt. So finally Hot Toys said, well, we'll give you a new one. It's the same kind of feeling, but it required negative controversy in order to get there. And, nobody's positive all the time, but I really like the positive side of collecting as opposed to having to be like, this is shit. What the hell's going on? Okay. Thank you very much. Now I got my way. I don't like collecting that way. But that could just be me. Again, I also recognize within marketing, sex sells, negativity sells. The videos of, the collectors who have the crazy, like, sad expression. My buddy Will Foxification talks about this a lot, right? Where his most hated thumbnails are also his most effective thumbnails because of controversy. Like, that's the way of the world these days, right? So great thoughts, though, Harrison. Yeah, really great thoughts, man. Well said. Philly, did you have any thoughts on this, or Dave, in terms of Terminator or Inart?
I think Dave was good. For me, I think they might be going a little too fast. I mean, the turnaround is now been coming up to 5 to 6 months, and maybe they're going a little too quick and kind of falling on their feet. So maybe perhaps they need to focus a little better. Or it could have been a strategy, like Harrison said, which is genius. So either way, I think, I mean, the product speaks for itself. When I've got the last 2 figures I've gotten I believe I got the Dune figure, Paul Atreides, and then also the Legolas, which for me, I had no issues with. They were perfectly fine, and they're really beautiful figures. So they do great product, but in regards to how the communication or the way they do their advertising, it's upon them. Maybe their intent was that, and it's working like a charm. So you never know. So, but one thing for sure is, I said, kind of slow down. I mean, Snake took like 5 months, 6 months. Thorin took 6 months, and eventually you keep going faster and faster, which is, you're gonna have more quantity versus quality, and you kind of don't want to do that with the company within Inart because they're all about quality. So but yeah, that's my 2 cents towards it. But yeah, I mean, the figure, in regards to it, I mean, we're comparing, a mannequin versus a figure, which I know that was you, but it's like, I agree with you. If they should have done rooted hair, I think so. I mean, it would have been a little tough for them, but I think it would have been worked out great. But maybe they're saving it for, I don't know, perhaps a Tech Noir. He had longer hair then, so maybe they're saving that for that. So who knows?
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Harrison, you reminded me of the eye piece there too, because when I was on Collecting Weekly last week, we were talking a little bit about it, and it sounds like the paint that they've used in order to be high reflective is meant for blacklight. So if you have a blacklight, you can use a blacklight torch and shine up the eye, make it look really cool. But then your face of your figure looks purple in your photos, or if you're trying to light it up, which I think is kind of funny. I had said, like, if anything, why can't they make that like high reflective coating that like any lighting shining on it will make it illuminate, right? Like, because I think that would be pretty cool, and I think could be a really good sidestep from lighting, because even USB lighting is as cool as it is requires you to have to run power, and if you don't have a good way to run power, your figure's still sitting there turned off. So at the very least, that high reflective coating I think would be a great middleman to it. But who knows? Let's move on, guys. Again, 77 folks here watching. Thanks for sticking around with us and having a good show with us today, guys. We really appreciate y'all being here. Let's talk a little bit about Indiana Jones. Man, this was a New Year's Eve post that I was very excited to see. I've been hoping for Young Indy since they gave us the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Sorry, what was the newest one? Dial of Destiny. The Dial of Destiny Indiana Jones, right? His aged up version. And at the time I was thinking, oh man, if they're putting this much work into Indy as an older gentleman, like, it seemed crazy to me that they didn't give us the CGI version from that same film as a younger sculpt. Even a second sculpt in the box, I think, would have been great for that figure, but they didn't. They kept it as old Indy. And then we most recently saw the Harrison Ford Bespin Han from Empire Strikes Back pop up, and I'm like, okay, now they've dialed in the younger Indy look, the younger Harrison Ford look. So we got to get a young Indy, right, at some point. And here we go. We're starting off with Temple of Doom Indy, and I will arguably say that as a kid especially, I think I watched Temple of Doom the most because it freaked me out the most. I loved Raiders. I loved The Last Crusade, especially everything with Sean Connery and, the trials at the end of the movie. I loved all of that. But like, Temple of Doom had such great action, horror, suspense. I hated the blonde woman in that. What's her name now? I can't.
Kate Capshaw.
Yeah, she just drove me nuts through that whole movie, but she's supposed to. She's supposed to be the blonde bombshell, like, who doesn't want to be
Willie
there, sort
Scott.
of thing. Willie, yeah, exactly. She didn't want to be, but again, the coming out of the plane on the raft, and then the guy pulling his heart out, and like, there was just so much cool to that film that I'm stoked that they're starting with this. Now, the interesting part here for this figure is I think they've dialed in the likeness here really well to Harrison Ford at this point, especially at this age. There's been some minor nitpicks. Yeah, maybe the stubble could have been a little bit more intense. Sure, maybe the battle damage or some of the dirtiness could have been amped up just a little bit. Since they haven't given us a jacket with this figure or a clean shirt, they're clearly giving us the look of closer to the end of the film here, where either the scene where Indy's under the blood spell and has to be burned by Short Round. They actually have the burn mark right on his body, which I think is a really good detail considering they didn't have to do that. I think that they did that was really fun. And of course, as I said, because his shirt's all ripped open and everything, you have that option. Also giving us the diorama display with the deluxe version that has both the ability to display your Shankara stones or turned around for that iconic ladder climbing scene at the end of the movie. Right? All of that was freaking sweet. I think this figure looks good. I think the price point was decent. I think it came in at about $310 if I'm not mistaken for the standard, and $350 or $360 for the deluxe. So it was like an extra $40 to $50 for that extra display. But the display, look at it. I mean, it looks so freaking cool. So in terms of an indie display, this is what I wanted to see. And like they've nailed it here. I think literally the only nitpick that I would have, I want to show you this one here. Give me one sec. Let me share this screen. Let's see if I can find it really quick. Here, okay. So they say here 2 display styles, right? Which totally agree. It is 2 display styles technically. But that like red string that goes around him, that's from, again, the scene where he's under the blood spell. but he doesn't wear his hat in that scene. And I
Right.
know it's a weird nitpick, but if they'd given us an additional head sculpt without the hat so you could see his hair to recreate that scene very specifically, that would have been that next level. I think that, like, obviously would have added extra cost, but while it is two display looks, it's like it's one look and then kind of a half look. It's not all the way there. Super nitpicky, but still worthy of mentioning at the very least. The seamless body here, the silicone, I think looks great. I think it's a new design because some of the other bodies we've seen out there, like the Hugh Jackman shirtless version, he's way more jacked. So I don't think they're reusing anything here. I think this is new, and I think that they nailed his physical, shape. He wasn't huge, but he was in good shape, for the movie. So I think that they nailed that aspect of it here as well. Overall, this is an absolute day one pre-order for me. I got the deluxe as soon as it posted. I can't wait to have them on display. And what I'm hoping for is, now that we've seen a young Indiana Jones, we're also going to potentially see a Raiders version, likely with a jacket and some of those extras that aren't coming with this figure, or Last Crusade option. Either way, any of those figures, if they came with some of the things that you see on the display here, the Carpenter's Cup, right, or the Ark of the Covenant itself, like, there's some really great displays to be had for Indiana Jones. So I'm a huge Indy fan. I freaking loved this. I was so excited. All I could think of was monkey brains when I first posted this, which is why it was on my screenshot. Like, I was stoked. So Adam, I know you're a big Indy fan. How did this land one for you?
I think this is the best Harrison Ford head sculpt to date. I thought the Bespin Han was awesome. This is even better. I have the Old Man Indy. I didn't really care for the movie, but the figure is awesome, and I wanted to have all variations of Indy. I think this is a figure that it kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier, like the New Year's resolutions. So if you're a one and done figure, and maybe Temple of Doom is your favorite movie, definitely get this. But if you're a one and done Indiana Jones and your ideal is the leather jacket, either from Raiders or for Last Crusade, maybe you want to wait. Now you could get this and just get, there's Harrison Ford, Indiana Jones leather jackets on eBay or the aftermarket. You can probably pick up and just put them in. You can go that route. But if you're, I got to have them all, then this is definitely for you. Now I got to have them all. I'm that collector when it comes to Indiana Jones, and I had the Present Toys Raiders of the Lost Ark figure. It's good. It's not great. I'll gladly, when they come out with, eventually they're gonna come out with the 2.0 of that. I'll be gone with that figure as soon as that new one comes out. I do have, and I picked up at the beginning of this year, the Sideshow Temple of Doom Indiana Jones figure. It came out in 2015. It's a Sideshow figure. Now that hat is removable. And so I might keep it just to pose that figure without the hat on. But this looks better. This Hot Toys one looks better with the hat on. This is just a far superior, this has got a seamless body, far superior figure than the one I have. Plus Definitely. That base is incredible.
It's insane.
And actually you can get, you showed the Ark. I have a Hasbro put out a 1/6 Ark, and it really looks, it looks great. I have it with my Indiana Jones figures. You can find it on the aftermarket. Actually, I'll get it in a second here, but I think this is a home run. I can't wait to get this.
Yeah, dude, I'm freaking really excited. And yeah, you're right. There's some holes here, like for a company like Topo, maybe, to be able to give us like an additional sculpt or a jacket at the very least, something along those lines. I like that they put the wire in the whip so you could get some dynamic posability out of that. Harrison, when you look at figures like this, especially with some of the wicked display bases that you can get nowadays, like these are amazing. We were just talking about how boring that Inart base was for Terminator, right? Just a kind of a rectangle square, and then, or like a basic rectangle, I should say. And then we see this kind of base, which is amazing. Something that I don't love is actually seeing the movie title on the base. I know that seems maybe weird, but I like it to look like it's from the movie, and in the movie, the title of the movie isn't on the prop. You know what I mean? So to me, that's a weird, but that's a nitpick. What do you think about the figure? What do you think about everything it comes with? What are your thoughts on Indiana Jones overall?
I love Indiana Jones. I like a lot, and that's why this one's really hard for me because I only want one, is what I told myself. And if I was just thinking, you had that picture up of all the relics that he had, and it made me think I would have loved it if they did one Indy with all of the trinkets around him, are very similar
just
to
like
what
the
they
deluxe
did with
Indy.
Yeah, that Lim Toys did with Nathan Drake, and each around him you've got each bit of the relics. And I thought you just showing that would have looked really good if they did something like that. So like you could have almost done it with that big base, have little cutouts around it, and all the treasures were all. But that's different. Yeah, I do really like this. I think it looks really good. Adam said it. You've said it. It's the best Harrison Ford that they've done by far, I think. I mean, Han Solo was really, really good, but this one's even better.
Yeah,
but my choice would be Last Crusade if I could have a choice. That was the one I'm hoping for. And I do think the only reason we didn't get a head or a jacket is because that version is coming, like 100%. Because if they gave you a second head that you could take the hat on and off, then you could put that head on another figure, and then you've got 2 Indiana Jones. You don't have to worry about buying another one. So the fact that they don't include a head and a hat and a jacket just solidifies that another one is coming. It's just when.
Another one will. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And I mean, Adam called it out, right? That's when we were talking about the resolutions. If you're waiting for the definitive one, is this the definitive one for you? For me, like it might be, if I'm honest. I do think he needs the jacket, though. That is that one omission that would get me to consider buying another figure. So it's like such a slippery freaking slope as collectors, man. It's
really
crazy.
Is. Especially with characters like this. When you don't get them, like how many Captain Americas have we got? How many Iron Men have we got? We don't have that with Indiana Jones. We don't get that with these sort of characters. So you sort of go, I'll just wait. And then you could be waiting another 10 years. You just don't know.
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that, though, because there was that aspect of that's part of the fear of missing out with collecting, right? Is that when I specifically chose to not buy the old Indiana Jones figure, it was because I expected and hoped that they would give us a young version at some point. But they might have just never gone back to it. There was a chance where they just, that's it. You get the old Indy or bust. That's it. And so that's 100% taking a calculated risk. And as soon as people started receiving that figure and being like, man, this is actually a really sweet figure, considering, I was like, damn it, I missed out. Like, if they don't give us a younger version, I missed the opportunity to have still Indy in my display. But it's young Indy all day. What are you showing us here, Mr. Adam?
All right, so this is a couple things here. This is the Sideshow Indiana Jones from 2015. Pretty good. Listen, not the Hot Toys level. Now you can take, obviously, he scalped them, but
oh my god,
you could put like the hair thing on there.
Poor bald bastard.
That's the hair club for men version. So he comes with one of the stones, Kalima, and right. With the sword. Now, what I really wanted to show you. Okay.
Oh, okay. That actually is really sweet. I like that it's mirrored and stuff. That's cool.
Yeah. All right. Hopefully, none of your faces melt after this.
None of your faces melt.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
You could also put your weed in there if you need to, at least for the legal states.
Weed in there,
yeah.
Here in New York, it's legal.
When did they make that?
This is 2008. I mean, I got this on eBay. It's Hasbro. Let me show you here.
That's really fun.
That's
actually
fucking awesome.
2008. I guess it was like a mail order exclusive or something. Yeah, don't look directly at it.
Look at the picture he's got too.
It's beautiful.
That's awesome. That's freaking awesome.
Gosh.
Dave, tell us about, we haven't had a chance to hear from you for a little bit, buddy. Do you have any thoughts on Indiana Jones, how this turned out from Hot Toys, films themselves? Is there a definitive indie for you?
I think Indy is great as a great character, and I love all the movies. But like, for me, Vader is Vader, Indy is Indy, right? As long as it's not like old Indy. Yeah, like I could get him from this movie. I could get him from any of the other movies in that, 20-year period, right? And be fine. This is a fantastic figure. If you want it, get it, because he's going to be gone, probably, the way they've been doing stuff lately. And this one's going to probably cost more later, I would imagine, because it's Indiana Jones and you don't get a lot of them. I will wait because I've been trimming down, and I will get an Indiana Jones probably if it's got all the things that I want with it. Someone mentioned in the chat talking about people complaining about him not having a jacket rather than just going and finding one. I'm like, yeah, okay, but also, if you have a jacket that you really want to get, are you going to go to Walmart and buy it off the rack? Are you going to have someone make it to fit you? That's what we're talking about here. Like, sure, you can get one that someone made somewhere, and there's a couple of guys, one in particular that I know of, that will probably make it perfectly on Instagram right now. So that's probably an option for you, But for me in particular, I'm not doing extra stuff, like I'm not doing extra stuff for a figure that I might kind of want. If I see one that has the things that I want to have with it, then maybe I'll get it. And even then, maybe. I love Indiana Jones, but he's not really for my collection like that. And maybe later that'll be different. I don't know. But right now I've got Jack Sparrow, and that's the only one off that I have, and I'm good with that. But yeah, I think this is fantastic. If you want it, get it, because this is a great figure from what we're seeing so far. Like, we don't know what the production is going to look like, but so far he looks pretty damn good. And he did a pretty good job on the previous one. So I expect they'll do the same with this.
It's been an interesting last year, right? Because when we went into 2025, I think as collectors, we were like, man, a lot of the IPs at the time, Star Wars was starting to fall a little flat for people in terms of their love, of things like The Mandalorian. There'd been a couple shows like Ahsoka and stuff that not everybody loved. So Star Wars was having diminishing returns. Marvel was also having diminishing returns with their films. There were some great ones. Like, I liked Thunderbolts a lot, for example, but then there was, the Brave New World film, which was like, it was kind of mid. Like, there wasn't a lot of Marvel that I was like desperate to collect. And so going into 2025, I was thinking like, man, they're going to have to start going back to more nostalgic IP, or collecting will flatten. And this year they did, Terminator, Aliens, Predators, Indiana Jones, OG Star Wars, right? Like, they literally went, okay, what needs a 2.0? What can we do? And there was more nostalgic punches in the chest, I think, in this last year than I've had in a long time. But Indy was a movie, Dave, that I used to watch, like all the 3 original Indiana Jones movies. I used to watch those on repeat after school. I would put Indiana Jones on in the background while I was doing things like homework even and stuff. Like, it was comfort food movies for me. And so there's no way I can't collect this. This is like, I need an Indy in the display for sure. Philly, last but not least, buddy, how does Indy fly for you and your family? Like, was this nostalgic property for you when you were younger or now? And are you gonna collect this one, or is this your definitive one?
I think anyone growing in the 80s can say this is a character that's a staple of just modern cinema. And yeah, this is definitely adding to the collection. And, you're always looking for that definitive. So unfortunately, I caved in and caught the Dial of Destiny recent one. And actually, I just got it like a month ago or so. And I knew they were going to do this eventually. We all knew this. I knew this was coming. I didn't realize it was going to come this sooner. So yeah, I'm definitely getting it. Fortunately, I got the one without the base, without the diorama base for the Dial of Destiny. So this is perfect. I can get a base now, and I can use an alternate. I have a jacket too. So, and then I think it'd be perfect too to get one to kind of weather a little bit, give him a little more of a stubble and grime. Because look at the picture in the movie, he looks a little more worn down and a little more sweat. So
by that point, 100%.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm definitely getting this with the base, with the diorama base. I think it looks great. And if a third one comes in, which we all know it will, that'll be depending on how it looks. But for now, I'll just stick with this one and then this one that's coming out later. So, but Ben, unfortunately, I have to go because I have
No worries.
dad duties. But thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for being here. Do you have anything coming up on your channel you wanted to highlight before you go?
Yeah, I wanted to. I got the distinguished pleasure and honor of pre-reviewing a figure from Caustic Plastic, and that's the John Wayne from Hondo that recently came out. And if you have time, check it out on my YouTube channel on Figurecraft. But it's a great figure, very good quality. It has all the bells and whistles. It comes with even a companion dog. So, and also you can check out my photos on Instagram. I have a lot of stuff in there that I took pictures with the figure as well. So, but thanks for having me. I appreciate you. Appreciate all you fellas and the chat. And hopefully we'll see you next time. Thanks for having me.
Dude, thanks so much for being here.
Have a good
Happy
night,
New Year
Philly.
once again. And,
Happy New Year.
Love to the family.
Happy New Year. Take care.
Later, dude.
Happy New Year, Philly.
Alrighty, let's keep moving on, guys. But yeah, man, at the end of the day, let us know if you're watching on replay. What's your love of indie? Do you have a definitive indie? Would love to hear from you guys in the comments as always, because so many of us say nowadays, and I've seen some of you guys in the chat saying the same thing. What does definitive mean, right? Definitive is what it is for me, but what I think is definitive might be vastly different from what you guys feel is that. And that's part of what makes collecting fun. It's part of what makes our displays so unique. When we do our end of the year collection tours and all that stuff, I want to see different things in people's collections. That's what makes it fun to watch. And so I think Temple of Doom might be a definitive indie for me, but he's missing the jacket. So is he really definitive? Who knows? I don't know. You guys tell me what I should think and what I should buy, and maybe I'll consider it. Guys, let's move on here. We had some controversy this week, with Hot Toys, I think, as well. If any of you guys had a chance to see my take video on this when this popped up, it was a little spicier maybe than normal. Because if I'm honest, one of the reasons that I got into figure collecting to begin with was, in my opinion, especially Hot Toys at the time, they were the best, most realistic representations of the character that we saw on screen. And I said it earlier today in the show that the internet is a fickle place because it really doesn't take any effort at all to find reference images for our favorite characters from our favorite scenes of these favorite films. And so whenever we get a Hot Toy or an Inart or a Jazz Inc. or a A&D that absolutely freaking nails it, it is hard not to give them pretty decent credit for that, to be like, man, they really freaking nailed this. This is awesome, and I want to buy it. Just like how I'm feeling about Indy. Well, the battle damaged Spider-Man from the first Spider-Man Tobey Maguire film popped up this week, and this has been divisive because we've seen so many people do customs of this figure. We've seen so many complaints over the last couple of years of past Tobey Maguire Spider-Man that just get some of the details wrong, whether it's the shape of the lenses on the mask, whether it's the lineup of the actual webbing on the character itself and on the figure body, whether it's the likeness, whether it's this weird butt seam that's right on the middle of the head like we're seeing here with this figure, which is egregious, by the way. The last No Way Home Tobey Maguire that I had in my figure display that I actually sold to Classy Thomas only a couple months before he passed away, unfortunately, had such a bad seam that it actually had a nub on the front of the head that I couldn't get past. No matter how I displayed it, I could see this nub. And what doesn't make freaking any sense to me is I'm currently staring past my computer screen and looking at my advanced suit Tom Holland Spider-Man, and that mask has no seam up the middle, and that's a significantly older figure at this point. So why is it even possible that this figure, who is now new, just doesn't nail some of the details? There's pictures in here that I honestly think Hot Toys actually tried to Photoshop that seam out slightly in the nub just to try to make it look less bad. And then I've seen some secret base photos where it is very, very much there. The body is also off. They've clearly reused the No Way Home body. Unfortunately, it's too small. He was a little bit more physically fit in this outfit that you can see in the middle picture there. which is just making the suit on the figure look a little on the loose side also, which is also a little strange. The battle damage lineup, it's a bit of a miss too, right? The lens is once again the wrong shape. The face shape looks more bulbous than it does look slender profile like Toby actually looked. I still see Toby in there, to be fair. Like I don't think it's a horrible likeness, but I don't think it's necessarily close enough to the reference images that we can, again, very quickly find for ourselves when we go and looking. And so for me, this is Hot Toys being lazy once again. They've heard the criticisms of past Spider-Mans. There was a fixed black suit Spider-Man movement happening for 2 years, and while they tweaked a few things, still much of the criticism remained the same, and we're seeing a recreation of a lot of those criticisms here once again. And so for me, this is kind of disappointing, and it's not a figure I plan to buy. It's just not. Now, I also don't collect every Spider-Man. Tobey Maguire is my Spider-Man. While I loved Andrew Garfield's, kind of cooler representation of Peter Parker, for me, I still remember sitting in the theater with my dad for the first time, watching Tobey Maguire swing through the skies of New York City on the big screen, and it blew my freaking mind. Back then, that was like the first time we'd seen something like that, and it was so cool to see Spider-Man in live action like that. That for me, again, it'll always stick as my favorite Tobey Maguire, as my favorite Spider-Man, despite my mild likeness for him himself. As an actual person, he seems like kind of a dick these days, if I'm honest. But otherwise, love the original film, and I would really like to see a clean version of the Spider-Man suit with the right symbol on his chest, get rid of the nub, get rid of the ass seam on his head, figure out his proportions a little bit better, spit it out to us again. If we're gonna spend the money for the Tobey Maguire likeness like he asks for, then it better be better. It just needs to be. And this is one where I would say that some critical yet positive feedback, we don't have to be jerks about it. Let's give some really clear critical feedback for this, for what we expect from either the updates to this figure specifically or what we need from the next Tobey Maguire to buy it. Because otherwise, as collectors, we consistently train these companies what we're willing to put up with to still get our money. And I know so many of us are unhappy with this, and yet we'll still buy it because this is the representation that's available. And I've heard people say buy with your wallets, and that always pisses me off a little bit, if I'm honest, because I'm like, okay, but if it's my favorite character, I'm not going to not get it. Like, I still want it. So I have to punish myself. And what's my one wallet going to do against the vast community of collectors that still do buy it? Nothing at all. But if enough of us don't buy it, and if enough of us are critical enough in a positive way that they can hear it, maybe, if not this figure, maybe the next one will be better. So this is laziness to me. They could have done better here. This was a slap. And while I was initially excited looking at this in the cab on the way downtown on New Year's Eve, when I got home and actually looked at it closer, I was mortified that they didn't do their homework. So, all that to say, Harrison, how did you feel about this Spider-Man? tell me what your thoughts were.
Oh, I loved it. No,
it's the best figure I've ever seen.
Yeah,
and honestly, don't let my criticism take away from anybody before you go here. Like, if any of you guys on the panel or watching love this and you're excited, my take isn't to diminish excitement. It's to generate conversation, because what the hell? We should talk about it. So sorry about that, Harrison. Go ahead.
That's all right. I'm like in the middle with this. He's not a favorite character of mine, Toby being Spider-Man. So I don't think I'd be as harsh on it as others would be. But on display, on that base, I do think it will look really, really good if anybody buys it. Even with the issues that it does have, it still will look really, really good on the shelf. But it, as you said, it's lazy. Like, it doesn't take much to look up what's accurate, and they could have easily have done that. They seem to really just struggle with Toby. Every time a Toby Spider-Man releases, there's just issues, and people are not happy with them. So they do really need to try working harder on them. But yeah, I still think as a whole package on a shelf, it would look really, really good. That base is really impressive as well. So yeah, I don't think it's not a bad figure. It just needs to be better. They just need to work harder at it, which I feel like is what happens a lot now with most figures. Is none of these figures are bad anymore. They just could be a little bit better.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that's fair, right? And I think that maybe is part of where my frustration comes from, though, is because if you like, it's like getting 95% on the test, right? It's like if you guys just looked at the last 5%, some of the details that matter, and like again, this is not the first time they've made these same mistakes with Tobey Maguire's figures specifically. Why not get that last 5%? Why not just absolutely lock it in? That's when it starts to feel like gouging collectors for the next one. We just start to be like, okay, I'll just wait for the next one, because they will give us another one at some point, whether it's battle damaged or not. But when they get so close and yet still miss, that's a tough nut to swallow. But on the other hand, you're not wrong. When it's in your display and you're looking at your display from 4 feet away, like the majority of us do when we're walking into our collection rooms, oh, this is going to have presence. 100% it will. And people's eye is always drawn to my battle damage figures for whatever reason. When it's battle damage, it gets people's attention. This will still look good in a display. But still, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. It's a skip for me as of right now, buddy, but I think that's still a valid point. I definitely think that's valid. X-Men, were you feisty on this one? Were you neutral on this one? Look at the hands being a non-match to the figure. It's so weird looking. How did you shake out on this one, buddy?
The hands are always an issue, aren't they? And they could be fixed. And they choose not to do that. That's a problem with just about every Spider-Man. But we buy it. The seam at the top of the head, that also could be fixed. It's also ugly. Even as they try to Photoshop it out, it's ugly.
Yeah.
But we buy it. The eyes are always a point of contention. They're never the right size. They're never the right orientation. They're never in the right spot. But we buy it. And when it comes to something like this that is so scene specific, I can get being okay, it's well enough when it's just a regular, it's just Spider-Man suit. Because if you take any Tobey Maguire Spider-Man that we've had and just look at the way the suit is designed, well, that could be any time of any day of any year of any point in that man's life where he had a different suit. Okay, sure, that's fine.
For sure.
But this is a scene specific kind of thing. In this specific scene, he looked this specific way. And they've tried to emulate that to a degree. And I agree, it is pretty darn good looking. But his whole head is too round and the eyes aren't right. They are too big. They are the wrong shape. They're a little bit too low. Is the spider on the chest, which I didn't notice until somebody else pointed it out. The spider on the chest is incorrect for that.
It's from Spider-Man
whole
2.
movie. Yeah, that should be right. If you're gonna make a thing and you're gonna say it's from a certain movie, and furthermore you're gonna say it's from a certain scene, you better do it right. And you have the ability. They can do it. There's no reason that they can't. They chose not to because, oh well, ho hum, they're gonna buy it anyway. And people will buy it anyway. And they'll complain about the next Spider-Man because they bought this one and said it was okay. And the whole, not buying things because you don't think that they're up to par for the price is a very valid reaction. But trying to herd collectors is like trying to herd cats. It's not going to happen. I'm feeling a little bit like Kiko on this subject, if I'm being totally honest, because I feel like I'm over here telling a bunch of children, this is what you want to do if this is the result that you want to have, and you're not going to listen. But I think that, and the argument has been made too, well, maybe they just won't make it again. Maybe. I mean,
Maybe.
Are we going to complain about the next Tom Holland Spider-Man? Yes. They're not going to stop making Tom Holland Spider-Man.
I don't know if they'll give us this one again. Like this is because you said because it's so scene specific and the battle damage look, it would be weird for them to go back to this one again.
Yeah.
So in that sense, it makes it more collectible.
But we didn't really have to wait till this point either. Like what Spider-Man is this? What number on the roster is this for Spider-Man figures? Number 60, number 80, It's always been a problem. And I don't think the argument that they might not make it again really holds up here because they're always going to make Spider-Man. And people always complain about the problems with Spider-Man. And yet people always buy Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is the Spider-Man you're going to have then. And you might as well suck it up, Buttercup. This is what you get. Or don't get it. Those are your options. Don't buy a Spider-Man again if you don't like the way they make Spider-Man. Because that's the way they're going to continue to make it until everyone else says, hey, like with the Supergirl, we don't like this. This is stupid. I don't know how that happened with Supergirl and not with Spider-Man. That's insane to me. But this is the way that it's going to be. I personally, I don't buy Marvel Legends. Why? As a whole. Why? Because they can't get my boy Wolverine right. When they stop making the wavy gravy claws, then maybe I'll consider a Marvel Legend. But I don't buy them at large because they don't do the one thing that I like right. And that's what that looks like. I mean, if you want to have it regardless, then have it regardless. You know, that's your prerogative. But if you want it to be better, then don't buy it. If it's not good enough for you. That's what I do. There's Wolverine figures that I don't have in 6 scale because I'm like, this is ugly and stupid and I don't want it because this isn't how my boy should be.
For sure.
You know, there's always going to be imperfections. There's always going to be that little bit of this isn't quite right, but there's always going to be enough to overshadow certain things. Is there enough to overshadow the imperfections here? I don't really think so, because the problems with this have been persisting throughout the entire Spider-Man 6 scale legacy. So I don't think they're forgivable because of that. Somebody might, and that's great. You will enjoy yourself a figure. I think it looks great outside of the stuff that's wrong with it. And like I said, you know, some of those things you might not notice until you hear someone mention it. And, you know, that's fine. But if, you know, you want your next Spider-Man to be good, if you want any Spider-Man to be good, well, then maybe you should do something more than just buy it.
That's fair. Well said, dude. Very well said. And you brought up some interesting thoughts in my brain while you were kind of mentioning that, because even for me getting into 6 scale collecting, when I started, I remember taking the DX12 Batman out of the box and looking at that figure and thinking to myself, they will never, ever make a better Batman figure than this. This is the coolest and most accurate thing I have ever seen. Oh my God. And then they've made about 6 more representations of that character since, and still haven't quite got it right yet, in my opinion. I still have the DX12 Batman behind me that's modded, because to me, they still haven't been able to get it quite there. But I didn't get into collecting because I expected perfection out of every figure. And the longer that I've done it, and the more we have panels like this that we talk about it, the more I start to hear myself changing that mentality. I start to hear myself expecting more perfection over and over and over again, week after week after week. And I got to remember that that's not why I started collecting these things. I didn't collect them for their perfection. I collected them because they were still the best representations of these characters that existed. And I would argue that even with the nitpicks that we talked about today, even the fiery take that I gave, this is still probably the best representation, at least in terms of a large-scale company representation that we can buy from this. But having said that, I have seen third-party representations of the Tobey Maguire suit, battle damage look, and everything like that. Like, check out Riley Reviews channel. He's got a great one. Nick underscore collectibles, same thing. He's got a great custom one made, and man, do they look both like Tobey Maguire, and the battle damage is perfect. The mask is perfect. If a third-party company can do it, a bigger outfit like Hot Toys should be able to do it. And I see a question here. Let me pull it back up. It says, just Keith Lee says, I'll play devil's advocate. If these changes and updates require 10,000 to 100,000 of retooling to be 100% accurate, or use existing molds and designs to lose 5 to 10% of orders from picky collectors, what would you do? And I hear what you're saying. Like, companies are in the business of making money. They're not in the business of keeping people happy, really, most of the time, right? Like, they are for-profit organizations. And so I'm sure that they look at this and go, what's the best way we can make this figure for less money every single time? On the other hand, the internet is turned the world into a very talkative place, right? When I started collecting Hot Toys, there were very few people that even talked about Hot Toys, right? I would tune into the Collecting Weekly guys. I would tune into the 6-Scale Scavengers. That was pretty much it. Nobody really talked about these things. So my opinion of them at the time was, these are the best things I've ever seen. And wow, if I want to buy it, I got to figure out how to come up with $300 to do so. Now we have the ability to have such a vocal community that we can sway dollars, I think, more than we ever could before. You know, I've had guys like the developer from Exo6 comment to me and say, please stop talking about my stuff negatively because you're going to sway the direction of our company. Do I think that's actually real? No. But hey, it could, right? If enough people stop buying, if enough people hear the wallet talk, if enough people say, yeah, this just isn't good enough, I'm not going to buy this one. And because money's tighter, economy's harder, the world is a very unpredictable place right now. Coming up with $300 for your favorite figures is harder for all of us, even if you have wonderful jobs. And there's so much to choose from these days that I think if they spend all the money to get a figure made and it's not right, then they've missed the mark. Then they need to change their business. They need to not make any of these things until they get buy-in to a certain extent, at least the characters that might feel more like one-offs, or put numbered variants, put numbered editions on the things that are limited. If you're going to make limited items, give them a number. What, do I have Spider-Man 2 out of, the second figure of 500? That's freaking cool. I know. But like, to me, like, there's a few things that they could do, I think, in order to get the dollars from people and to not lose money on their own investments necessarily. Because again, like, we're at like the fourth time we've seen Tobey Maguire not be made properly. It's starting to feel like they are legitimately ignoring people, which I think they are. But why? They could make more money. The cost of making these things, like Hono showed The Wizard of Oz, the man behind the curtain. Hono showed that you could get a seamless Wolverine 6-scale figure for $160, which means that thing probably cost about $43 to make for them at mass scale, right? Like, because they make it otherwise. These figures that they charge us $400 plus do not cost that much money to make. They just don't. And so, like, they could do better. They could do better, or don't give it to us. Just keep churning out the ones that are as close to perfect as possible, that they've invested money in and that they think collectors want. Because we don't need to be overabundant. Like, I mean, how many people were truly asking for this one? I don't even know, if I'm honest. If you really wanted this, you probably already got the custom one made, and Bob's your uncle. You're already done with it, right? So, tell me how you felt, Adam, before we wrap it up today.
Well, it goes back to what we've been saying, what I was saying earlier. I guarantee you that Hot Toys is going to come out with another version of this, maybe in 6 months, maybe a year. And maybe the one you want from the first Spider-Man movie or the second Spider-Man movie is with his mask completely off. They're going to give that to you. Now, when I first saw this, I guess I had two reactions. One, I was looking at it on my phone after New Year's, after the ball dropped in New York, and we'd watch Stranger Things finale. And I saw the Indiana Jones, and I saw this. And my first impression was, that looks pretty awesome. Pretty great. I didn't look at it too closely, but my second reaction, immediate reaction after I liked what I saw, is, oh boy, it's Tobey Maguire. If this isn't exactly how certain collectors want it, it's gonna be a shit show. So, because I've been around this block before. Now, for me, I have 6 Spider-Man Hot Toys. One of them is the No Way Home Tobey Maguire, and I have him displayed with the mask off. And I'm for that Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, I'm one and done. I'm good. I don't need any more. If I didn't have that, I probably would get this. When I initially saw this, my reaction was, I don't understand what's wrong with this thing. And I guess now that I've been educated on some of the issues from your channel and others, I can see the concern. It kind of goes back to what who was it at the point about the investment? 14 Wellington, was it?
Mm-hmm.
He's got a point. But I think any company that doesn't get at least some feedback and doesn't listen to their customers in the long term, that's not a good strategy. You got to get feedback. And, using the example of X06, the owner of X06 reaching out to you instead of trying to have a dialogue and listen to someone who's a diehard Trekkie and listening to concerns, but saying, no, I want to silence you. Well,
Yeah.
that's a knucklehead move. That's stupid.
100%. Mm-hmm.
Totally stupid. And we see what happens in the corporate sector when companies do dumbass things and don't get feedback. And the public weighs in and they have to backtrack, and it's embarrassing for them. We see it time and again.
100%. 100%. Well said, dude. Very, very well said. Debtoy says, if even enough people complained about the Feral Predator and Spider-Man 2999 to see changes, the feedback to this has been way more. So if they don't change it, they've got another one up their sleeve. Totally agree. Totally agree. In fact, if you look at the Instagram page for Hot Toys, in the first day, this had 40,000 views versus the indie that had 7,000 views in the same amount of time. So there's a lot of people looking at this, a lot of people. It seems like just leaving money on the table if they don't tweak it. And somebody else had mentioned, sorry, I missed who said it, but that, let's see here. Oh, Keith Lee says, I think it's easier for companies like Inart and Jazz Inc. to pivot and make changes based on feedback since they don't have a catalog of molds and designs to reuse because they're starting from scratch. Yeah, I would actually argue almost maybe the opposite to that, though, because when they're smaller outfits and they're making less of these things, they have less money to play with. The cost per unit goes up if they're not making 5,000 of them versus, 1,500 or whatever their allotment is, right? It takes more money to make them. And so I think that's one of the reasons that guys like Jazz Inc. and Yoast do podcasts in advance, show renders in advance, show the things that aren't costing a ton of money up front first in order to figure out what people want. That Batman animated character that he's done, I've got the Batman animated body coming from him versus the Batman animated real body, real type body. Because to me, when I think about Batman the animated series, is an animated character. I don't need him to be in a real type body. But based on feedback that Jazz had got, at first he was thinking about doing the real type and then maybe the animated and then maybe both if there's enough investment, right? He did it the right way in order to make sure that his dollars were being well spent and that the investment would actually be honored. I don't like HasLab, but HasLab does that really well, right? They won't even make something unless it gets enough support, which to a certain extent also then makes that very collectible once they're made. So there's ways in which I think companies like Hot Toys could figure out a way to get kind of both their cake and eat it too. Figure out a way to still reuse a certain amount of things that save them money while also showing progression. Because every year I do a Collecting Weekly awards show and we talk about what's the most improved company every year. I want it to be Hot Toys. I want that to stay Hot Toys. I'd like to see them be consistently improving, and with their artisan line flopping a little bit in my opinion this last year, with some of these boneheaded choices that they've seemed to make on some of these popular characters, with some of those things, I don't always think that it's always the right progression, even though of course I love Hot Toys. I'm surrounded by them. I have the same criticism with X06. Man, do I come in with some fiery takes on those folks sometimes, but it's because I really love Star Trek and I want them to win. If they're going to be the only chef in the kitchen making X06 character or Star Trek characters, I want them to be freaking awesome, so that I can continue to support them, right? With my money, but also my time and my channel and all the things. So all that to say.
Can I just make one last comment on this Spider-Man? I haven't seen this on the description. I'm just on Sideshow. It doesn't say whether, and that base I think is really cool. It doesn't say whether it's a magnet or a waist clamp, and I think I have the James Gunn Superman Hot Toys figure, and it's got a magnet stand on it that you can have Superman in flight, and it's awesome. I hope with that technology, because it seems like Hot Toys has perfected it, that they get rid of those waist clamps. Really, it's hard to tell from these photos but they should, those waist clamps should be gone, and you should be able to display your Spider-Man like that with the magnet and not fear that you're gonna damage the body.
Yeah, the magnet technology is so close to being pretty freaking sweet and a bit of a game changer, in my opinion, for the display aspect of your figures. And you're right. Why put something in the box that you know for sure will damage your character in its ability to be displayed? Like, it's crazy, right? So, and guys, just one last quick shout out again to Sixth Scale Treasures on Instagram. Again, several of these comparison shots that you guys saw today are from his account. He gives me permission every week to be able to use his stuff. And as a result, I really appreciate that generosity. So go over, give him a subscribe on Instagram. You know, click the follow button. It's free to do so, and we'll continue to support him and myself as well in doing so. In our screenshot for the show, everybody, I did have the Savage Opress figure. Here, let me pull this out. Posted here because, of course, like in terms of news, anyways, the Savage Opress as well as the Golden Iron Man went up. I don't have a lot of love for the Iron Man golden suit, and you know, I asked the guys backstage here whether they had much of an opinion. I think we're all pretty flat on it at this point. I think if you love Iron Man and you collect them all, I think that there's a win for certain people out there. I think it looks good. All that to say, it's a pass for me. I'm sure it's a pass for the majority of you guys here. The Savage Opress, the only reason I was going to pop this one up in the show today is because I actually think it looks better than the solicitation photos. The original solicitation made it look really cartoony, and because it was next to a slightly more realistic looking Maul, still from the animated perspective, but the Maul I thought looked a little bit more lifelike and real. I thought when they originally solicited this guy, he looked cartoony next to him, and that's a weird inclusion because one can't be looking like a different style than the next if they're going to be in the display together. I don't know if it's just the way that they've photographed this at this point, because, you know, shout out to our boy Zord Photography on some of these photos, like absolutely killing it like he always does, or the lighting, or they've improved the figure itself. Either way, he looks better, in my opinion. They did a great job here. So I just really wanted to quickly touch on it because it was in the thumbnail. But I think if we want to have any further discussion, we'll save it for future collecting shows for sure. You'll see it on some other shows that are maybe more Star Wars centric. But like, I mean, look at these photos from Zord though. Like, man, the guy goes freaking hard. Like, Hot Toys needs to just make this guy do all of their work and pay the man well. And you, like, collector, like, look at that. That is so cool, man. That is so cool. Like, that goes hard. And like, I've said it for Exo-6 figures. I've said it for so many other figure companies. Like, we talked about controlling the message with Inart today, right? This to me is controlling the message. This takes a character that I don't really care to collect and make me look at it because I'm like, how could you not? That is freaking awesome. So blogger photos and photography and the lighting and those things, that should be out of the stratosphere of our mouths as panelists and YouTubers nowadays. We should no longer say ever that this figure looks okay, but maybe it's the lighting that's making it look off. Like, no, like professional photographers exist, like Zord, that can bring these things to life. Give them the task. Stop giving us lackluster photos, control your message, and you'll sell more product. Guaranteed. Because as I said, this one, not one that I'm gonna buy, definitely not. But man, does this photo solicitation make it look cool?
That photo with him on top of the clone troopers, that makes you not just want to buy Savage. That makes you want to buy 4 figures right there.
Legit, legit, dude, it's crazy. And yes, I know that he came from the animated series. That makes sense to me. What I was saying though is that the Maul, when they gave us the Maul, they made him look like somewhere in between, like a hybrid of animation to realism, but he looked more real than the Savage. So like, it was like, ooh, that looks weird to me. Either make them both look really animated or make them both look really realistic, but don't have one somewhere floaty in between. So sorry if I didn't explain myself well on that, but the ketchup and mustard Star Wars villains, you'll have to see it. So, but guys, that is the show for the day. Thanks for getting nuts with us today. I think we had just under 100 people watching at one point, which is awesome for the first show back of 2026. Just so you guys are aware, I have to work next Sunday, unfortunately, so we will not have a Let's Get Nets next Sunday, but we will try to have it the following week after that. Hopefully we'll get get some more news in as well. I'm going to give a quick shout out to our Classy Nut crew here in Nut Kings, and then I'll go through the panelists to see what's coming up for them and their channels. The Classy Nut crew, of course, we got Alvin J, Honest Hansel, Money Mendez, Harry Dempsey, Big Rib, as Dean would say, 1 6-figure focus, Vita, aka her geeky side, King Dingaling, Jose G Hernandez, The Real Tex Conway, Collection Obsession, The Movie Canon, Figurecraft, Don Maton, Alex Serrato, Pop Culture Relics, Daniel Essie, Ryan Smith, Collector Joey, Sam Gist, Rachel Miller, Mike in Cali, Figure in a Bubble, Deguito, Blurred Dad Life, Alex Serrato, Saphira Cosplay, Aaron Broverman, Monroe, Corbeil, and L Walker. And then a very special shout out to our premium membership tier, the Nut Kings. Of course, we got Mr. SpongeBob SquareBalls, miss that guy every day, as well as our buddy Field to Burn, Nut Kings for life. Collecting Weekly, The Batman, 12-inch Moose Stream, X-Men Supreme, Peter Cass, Valkyrie Magnus, Ronnie, 1 Adam 12, Sith, Scale Collector, OG Fan when Star Wars was just Star Wars, Manny, Fresh, 369, Trevor Weed, and Tijuana Mike, aka King Churro. If you guys like seeing your name pop up on the slide here at the end of Let's Get Nuts, or you like seeing your credits, or your name in the credits as they roll at the end of every Ben Thomas Show video, become a channel member. I think it's $1.99 or something to become the Classy Nut, or $5 only to become one of the Nut Kings. So we'd love to have you there, but otherwise, if you can just hit the like button and subscribe, I would definitely appreciate it if you enjoyed the show today. My co-host, Mr. 1 Adam 12, anything coming up for you, buddy, this week that you are excited about, good sir? And thanks for being back for the first show of the year, man. It was great to see you.
Yeah, great to be back. Happy New Year again to everyone, to you and to everyone else. Check out, I did a video this week. My wife unboxed the TVA Wolverine, and the video is the TVA, the Hot Toys TVA Wolverine, too sexy for my wife. So she has a nice glass of wine and unboxes Wolverine. Her dream
That
come
was
true.
funny, man.
So
No,
check that out.
He's a spicy figure. You know, what can I say? So yeah. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Please go over, for the love of goodness, and subscribe to the 1 Adam 12 YouTube channel. Definitely appreciate it. Johnny Chronicles being a member of 1 month. We'll get your name posted up on our credits. Sorry, I missed that, buddy. So special shout out to Mr. Johnny Chronicles for 1 month. I don't know how I missed you. Sorry about that, man. That is my bad. We'll get you on right away, I promise. Mr. Viking Collectibles. Harrison, anything coming up for you, my friend, that you're excited about? You've been streaming with a couple of us now. Now you got your feet wet. Are you thinking about doing anything over on your side?
Nothing at the moment, but you will find me on multiple streams, as you've said. So I'll be on 1 6-figure Focus, The Hope Show, as well as Geo's Movie Canon channel on Friday, and anyone else really that invites me on. It's always great fun, and thank you very much for inviting me to come on. It's always lovely to be able to chat with everyone about things we love.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. And you're welcome back anytime. Now that you're part of the crew, keep an eye out for those invitations that pop out. If there's ever a figure that comes up that you're like, oh my God, I definitely got to be on this week, I got to talk about it, just definitely let me know, because I like getting the passion out of you guys as well. So feel free, invite yourself, because I'm sometimes bad with invitations. In my opinion, if you guys have been here, you're already part of my family, so you guys can come on anytime you'd like. So appreciate you, man, for sure. Hell yeah. Mr. Dave, X-Men Supreme 2026 version. Thanks for being back, man. Anything coming up for you this week you're excited about?
Oh, just working with Geo on the tier list on Friday. We're gonna be doing that.
Sweet.
I imagine there's gonna be some collector's figure action happening tomorrow, as usual. I think so. I should be there, I believe, as long as nothing comes up that takes me away from it. Other than that, just hitting the chats, skimming the vids, being ever present.
Okay.
Can I just add one thing next, besides doing Geo show next Friday night? Next Saturday with Geo, the movie canon, him and I are gonna give our top 10. Well, he's doing movies, I'm doing movies and TV, because I can't find 10 movies that I thought are worthy of being a top 10 list. And spoiler alert, my top 5 are all TV shows, because not a single movie, in my view, even cracked that top 5 list.
Was that just for 2025 or
for 2025? Yeah, my apologies.
Okay.
2025.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Because I was like, there's no way you can't think
No,
of top 10 movies.
yeah.
What?
For last year, 2025.
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Cool. Stay tuned. And shout out to Jose Plus. I know he's doing the Meso Menos show on the 16 Fix YouTube channel. Lots of different guests are going to be competing head to head. At some point here, I'm going to be competing against Vita, aka her geeky side. So stay tuned for that, because I'm going to have to, professionally beat the heck out of her, hopefully, in a competitive way. Hopefully, but sometimes the popularity trumps it, so she'll probably take it. But either way, it's going to be a good show. I'll announce when I'll be on that channel, doing that as well with those folks. So, but guys, all that to say, let's get rid of this here. You can see us on the big screen. We definitely appreciate you guys here. Once again, you are on the Ben Thomas Show today. If you have not had a chance to hit the subscribe button, please do so. It's free, so we can see you guys on the next one. But all that to say, Mr. Adam, once again, we got nuts. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Wow, what a great order. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Because subscribing makes it easy.
Yes, Michael, what should I do? Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. It's gone. It's all gone.